Welcome back, guys. This is Potter Fanfic Hub. Here we explore powerful Harry Potter what-if stories and hidden magic. What if a basilisk and Fawkes bonded with 4-year-old Harry and made him the master of life and death? If you enjoy epic magical videos, subscribe to Potter Fanfic Hub. Now, let the story begin. Chapter 1: The Forgotten Child. The cupboard beneath the stairs had no windows. No light ever touched the small, cramped space except for the thin sliver that crept beneath the door when the hallway lamp was left on, which was rare. The Dursleys were careful about wasting electricity. They were careful about many things: appearances, normalcy, and most of all, the unnatural. Harry Potter had learned this lesson before he could form proper sentences. He learned it in the way his aunt's lips would tighten whenever she glanced at him. In the way his uncle's face would redden when Harry did something he couldn't explain, like the time he'd somehow found himself on the school roof, or when his hair grew back overnight after Aunt Petunia had sheared it off with kitchen scissors, leaving him bald and weeping. In the way his cousin Dudley would laugh, his fat face contorting with cruel delight, as he chased Harry through the house like a game. But the cupboard was where Harry learned the most important lesson of all. He was nothing. Not worth the space he occupied. Not worth the food he ate. Not worth the air he breathed. The Dursleys reminded him of this every single day, in 1,000 small and large ways. The cupboard was just a physical manifestation of their truth, a truth Harry had internalized so completely that he no longer questioned it. He was 5 years old now. Almost 6, actually, though he didn't know his exact birthday. The Dursleys had never celebrated it. There were no parties, no cakes, no presents. Just another day of chores, another night in the cupboard, another whispered prayer to a god he wasn't sure existed that maybe, just maybe, tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow was never different. Tonight, however, was worse than most. Harry lay curled on the thin mattress that served as his bed, his small body trembling with pain. His ribs ached where Uncle Vernon had struck him earlier that evening. The blow had come without warning. Harry had accidentally broken one of Aunt Petunia's favorite teacups while washing the dishes, his fingers slick with soap and exhaustion making him clumsy. The cup had shattered against the kitchen floor. And Uncle Vernon's fist had shattered against Harry's side. "Useless freak!" his uncle had roared, his purple face inches from Harry's. "Can't you do anything right? You're worse than worthless. You're a burden. A stain on this family." Harry had been thrown into his cupboard like a sack of rubbish. He hadn't been given dinner. Hadn't been given water. Hadn't been given any of the things normal children received when they were hurt. Normal children. Harry had seen them sometimes, through the kitchen window. The children who lived on Privet Drive, the ones with clean clothes and bright smiles and parents who held their hands. They played in gardens, rode bicycles, laughed without fear. Harry had never laughed. Not once. He wasn't even sure he remembered how. The pain in his ribs had dulled to a deep, throbbing ache now. He learned to breathe shallowly, careful not to expand his chest too much. The darkness of the cupboard pressed against him like a living thing, heavy and suffocating. There were spiders in the corners. He could feel their tiny movements sometimes, their delicate legs brushing against his fingers. He'd long stopped being afraid of them. They were just there. Like him. Forgotten. Invisible. But tonight something was different. Something was wrong. Harry could feel it in his bones, a strange prickling sensation that started at the base of his spine and spread outward like electricity. It wasn't the usual tingle of accidental magic, that feeling he'd learned to recognize, the one that made strange things happen when he was scared or angry. This was deeper. Older. It felt like something was calling to him. Harry's eyes snapped open in the darkness. His heart, small and battered though it was, began to beat faster. The pain in his ribs faded to the background as adrenaline surged through his system. His fingers curled into the thin fabric of his mattress, clutching it like a lifeline. What? The thought was barely formed, barely conscious. Harry didn't have words for what he was experiencing. He was only 5 years old, after all, And no one had ever taught him about magic, not real magic. The kind that lived in his blood, in his bones, in the very fabric of his soul. But the feeling was there, undeniable. It was like a pull, a desperate, ancient pull that came from somewhere far below. Deep beneath the earth. Deeper than the cupboard. Deeper than the house. Deeper, even, than the foundations of Privet Drive. Something was waking up. Something that had been sleeping for a very, very long time. And it was waking up because of him. Harry's breathing quickened. He pressed his small hands against his chest, trying to calm his racing heart, but it was no use. The pull grew stronger with each passing moment, tugging at something inside him that he hadn't even known existed. It felt like a thread. A golden thread connecting his heart to something far away. No, not something. Someone. Harry's eyes widened in the darkness. He could see it now, not with his eyes, but with something deeper. A vision burned behind his eyelids, clear and vivid, a massive underground chamber, ancient and dark, lit by the pale glow of some unseen light source. The walls were covered in carvings, serpents coiled around pillars, their stone eyes gleaming with malice. And at the center of it all, a statue. A huge statue of a face, stern, commanding, proud. The face of a man who had been dead for centuries, yet whose presence still filled the space with undeniable power. Salazar Slytherin. Harry didn't know the name. He'd never heard of Slytherin, never heard of Hogwarts, never heard of the magical world at all. But somehow, looking at that stone face, he understood. This was a legacy. A legacy that belonged to him. And then Harry saw something else. At the base of the statue, coiled in endless loops of shadow and scale, was a creature so immense that Harry's mind couldn't fully comprehend it. The serpent's body seemed to fill the entire chamber, its scales gleaming like emeralds in the dim light. Its head was raised, hooded, and its eyes were the color of death itself. Harry should have been afraid. Any normal child would have been screaming in terror at the sight of such a monster. But Harry wasn't a normal child. He was a child who had been beaten, starved, and shoved into darkness. He was a child who had been told he was worthless so many times that he'd started to believe it. And yet, something about the creature's eyes spoke to him on a level deeper than words. Harry could see the intelligence behind them, the ancient wisdom, the terrible patience of something that had been waiting for centuries. Waiting for him. Master. The voice was like a whisper of wind through dry bones, like the rustle of scales over stone. It wasn't spoken aloud. It was telepathic, an impression of meaning that bypassed Harry's ears entirely. At last, you have come. Harry's breath caught in his throat. He couldn't speak. He didn't know if he'd forgotten how, or if there simply weren't words for what he was feeling. But he didn't need to speak. The creature, the basilisk, understood him completely. Asterisk, I have waited so long for you, little one. The magic in your blood sings to me. It calls me home, asterisk. Harry's eyes filled with tears. He didn't understand why. He didn't understand what was happening, what this connection was, why his heart was aching with such desperate, overwhelming emotion. But somewhere deep inside him, a wound was beginning to heal. A wound that had been festering for 5 years. I don't understand, Harry thought. His thoughts felt clumsy, disjointed, like a child's scribbles compared to the basilisk's elegant telepathy. Asterisk, why are you talking to me? Why me, asterisk? The basilisk's massive head descended, drawing closer to the vision of Harry in its mind's eye. Its tongue flickered out, tasting the air, tasting him. Asterisk, because you are the one, little master. The one chosen by ancient magic. The one who will bring balance to a world that has forgotten its own soul. Asterisk. Harry's tears spilled over, trailing down his cheeks. He was so small. So fragile. So utterly broken. But the basilisk didn't seem to see any of that. Asterisk, I will protect you, little one. I will never leave you. The bond we share is eternal, unbreakable. You are my master, and I am your guardian, asterisk. A warmth spread through Harry's chest, radiating outward from his heart. It was the strangest feeling, like being held by someone who truly loved him. He'd never felt that before. Not once. Not from the Dursleys. Not from anyone. But the Basilisk's love was real. Ancient and fierce and unconditional. And in that moment, Harry understood something profound. He wasn't alone. He'd never been truly alone. There was something out there, something powerful and terrible and beautiful, that saw him as worthy. That saw him as master. The vision began to fade, the chamber of secrets dissolving like mist in the morning sun. But the connection remained, a permanent link forged between Harry's fragile soul and the ancient creatures sleeping beneath Britain. Asterisk, I will find you, little master. I will never abandon you. Just wait for me, wait, asterisk. And then the basilisk was gone, retreating back into the depths of its slumber. Harry lay in the darkness of his cupboard, trembling. His cheeks were wet with tears. His ribs still ached. His stomach was hollow with hunger. Nothing had changed about his physical circumstances. And yet, everything had changed. Meanwhile, halfway across Britain, in a castle that had stood for over 1,000 years, a different creature stirred. Fawkes the Phoenix had been sleeping in the headmaster's office, perched atop his golden stand with his wings folded neatly against his body. He was supposed to be in a state of torpor, resting after the day's events, his brilliant crimson and gold feathers shimmering faintly in the firelight. But then he felt it. A pulse. A magical pulse so ancient, so powerful, that it resonated across the entire island of Britain. Fawkes's eyes snapped open. His head swiveled, his gaze piercing through the walls of Hogwarts, through the miles of stone and earth and distance, to a small house in Surrey. To a cupboard beneath the stairs. To a small boy with messy black hair and vivid green eyes shaking in the darkness. To the child whose magic had just sent out a call that had crossed the length and breadth of the magical world. He is here. The thought was not in words, but in pure feeling. Fawkes had been waiting for this moment for centuries, waiting for the boy whose soul would be worthy of his bond. The boy who would bring balance to a world that had forgotten the old ways. The boy who would be master of life and death. Fawkes let out a small melodic trill. He was ancient, older than the castle, older than the founders, older than the human civilization that had built the grand halls around him. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had seen magic burn bright and fade to memory. He had seen darkness and light struggle against one another for control of a world that could never truly belong to either. But he had never seen a child like this one. The boy's soul was like a crystal waiting to be cut, rough, raw, full of potential. The abuse he'd suffered should have broken him. Should have twisted him into something bitter and dark. And in some ways it had. There were shadows clinging to the edges of his spirit, wounds that would take years to heal. But there was also light. A brilliant, blinding light at the center of his being that refused to be extinguished. And that light was calling to Fawkes. Not to the basilisk. Not to the darkness beneath the earth. To him, the phoenix of life and rebirth. Fawkes's feathers ruffled. He spread his wings, feeling the familiar warmth of his magic flare to life within his chest. The fire that lived inside him, the flame that was his very essence, pulsed in response to the boy's call. The boy needed him. Not the basilisk's darkness. Not the death magic. The boy needed the light, the healing, the hope, the promise of a new beginning. Fawkes launched himself into the air, soaring through the open window of the headmaster's office and into the night sky. The wind streamed through his feathers, carrying him higher and higher. His crimson and gold form a streak of brilliant color against the star-studded sky. Below him, Hogwarts sprawled across the landscape like a sleeping giant, its towers and turrets lit by the soft glow of enchanted windows. Fawkes flew faster. He had to reach the boy. He had to form the bond before it was too late, before the darkness in the child's soul grew too strong, before the pain and neglect did permanent damage. The basilisk had made its claim already, that much Fawkes could sense. The creature's magic had woven itself around the boy's spirit, creating a connection that could not be broken. But the basilisk had only claimed one part. The part that dealt with death, with endings, with the shadow that always follows the light. The boy needed more than that. He needed balance. And Fawkes would provide it. Harry was drifting in and out of consciousness when he felt it again. The pull. But this time it was different. This time, the magic felt warm. Bright. Soothing. It felt like a hug. Harry's eyes fluttered open. He was still in the cupboard, still trapped in the darkness with his aching ribs and hollow stomach. But the darkness wasn't as oppressive as it had been. There was a faint golden glow filtering through the cracks in the door, as if the hallway lamp had suddenly grown much brighter. Harry blinked. The glow intensified. And then he saw it, a single golden feather drifting through the crack beneath the door. It was impossibly beautiful. The feather shimmered with an inner light, as if it were made of liquid fire. Its color shifted and changed, from crimson to gold and back again, every hue so brilliant that Harry's eyes ached just looking at it. The feather floated through the air, moving with a grace that defied the cramped conditions of the cupboard. It settled on Harry's chest, directly over his heart. And then something incredible happened. The feather began to glow, brighter and brighter, until the entire cupboard was bathed in golden light. The warmth that had started in Harry's chest spread through his entire body, chasing away the cold, the pain, the hunger. His ribs, which had been aching so badly just moments ago, suddenly felt fine. The bruises on his arms and legs faded. The exhaustion in his bones evaporated. Harry felt healed. He felt whole. Little one. The voice that spoke in his mind was different from the basilisk's. Deeper. Older. And yet somehow warmer, like a grandfather's embrace. Asterisk, I am here now. You are not alone. You will never be alone again. Asterisk. Harry reached up with trembling fingers and touched the feather on his chest. It was soft, impossibly soft, and warm to the touch. Who? Harry's voice was barely more than a whisper, cracked from disuse. Who are you? Asterisk, I have many names, little one. But you may call me Fawkes. I am a phoenix. I am the fire that cannot be extinguished. I am life itself. Asterisk. Harry's eyes widened. He didn't fully understand what was happening. He was only 5 years old, after all, and his knowledge of the world was limited to the small, cruel bubble of Privet Drive. But somehow, he understood that this creature, this phoenix, was offering him something precious. Something he'd never had before. A family. Asterisk, I have been waiting for you for a very long time, Harry Potter. The magic in your soul calls to me. It calls to the basilisk as well, the one who spoke to you just moments ago. You are destined to bring balance to a world that has forgotten how to see both light and shadow. Asterisk. Harry's lip trembled. But I'm nobody, he said, his voice breaking. I'm just Harry. I'm not special. I'm not. You are the most special being I have encountered in 1,000 years. Fawkes's voice was like a warm embrace, wrapping around Harry's fragile spirit. Asterisk. You carry within you the potential for greatness. You carry the balance that has been missing from the world for so long. The basilisk chose you because your soul is worthy. I choose you for the same reason. Asterisk. A sob escaped Harry's throat, a raw, gut-wrenching sound that had been building for 5 long years. He cried. He cried for the parents he didn't remember. He cried for the childhood he'd never had. He cried for the boy he could have been if he'd been loved instead of beaten. And Fawkes cried with him. The phoenix's presence filled the cupboard, surrounding Harry with warmth and comfort. It was like being held by someone who understood, someone who had seen the worst of the world and had chosen to see its best anyway. Asterisk, let it out, little one. Let it all out. You are safe now. You are loved. Asterisk. Harry cried until his throat was raw and his eyes were swollen. And when he was finally done, when the tears had dried and his breathing had steadied, Fawkes spoke again. Asterisk, there is more, little one. The basilisk and I, we wish to bond with you. A soul bond. It is a connection that cannot be broken, an alliance that will make you the master of life and death itself. You will be the bridge between the two sides of magic. Asterisk. Harry sniffled, wiping his nose on his sleeve. Soul bond? He repeated, the word strange on his tongue. What does that mean? It means that you will never be alone again, Fawkes said simply. Asterisk. It means that you will have the power of the Phoenix and the Basilisk within you. The power to heal and to destroy. The power to bring life and to accept death. You will be the balance, Harry. The balance the world has been waiting for. Asterisk. Harry was silent for a long moment. He thought about the Dursleys. About the beatings and the starvation and the cupboard. About the way they made him feel worthless, like a stain on their perfect little life. He thought about the Basilisk, the creature of darkness and death that had spoken to him with such love. He thought about Fawkes, the creature of light and life who had come to him in the night. And for the first time in his short, terrible life, Harry felt hope. What do I have to do? He asked. Asterisk. Just accept us, Harry. Accept the bond. Accept the power. Accept yourself. Asterisk. Harry closed his eyes. He could feel the basilisk's presence now, humming in the back of his mind like a deep, resonant note. And Fawkes's presence was like a warm glow, surrounding him with love. They were both waiting. Both willing. Both offering him something that no one in the world had ever offered him before. A choice. Yes, Harry whispered. Yes, I accept. I accept you both. The moment the words left his lips, the world exploded. The transformation happened simultaneously across two separate planes of existence. Deep beneath the earth, in the Chamber of Secrets, the basilisk's massive body began to glow. The ancient serpent hadn't moved in centuries, hadn't had any reason to move, any reason to wake from its eternal slumber. But now it moved. Its massive coils shifted, scales grinding against stone, as the soul bond took hold. The basilisk had been waiting for this moment for 1,000 years, waiting for the heir who would be worthy of its loyalty, its power, its love. And now the wait was over. The basilisk's eyes, those terrible yellow eyes that could kill with a single glance, glowed with ancient magic. A golden thread of light extended from the creature's heart, shooting upward through the earth, through the foundations of the castle above, through the miles of distance that separated it from its master. The thread connected to Harry's soul, fusing with his essence like a key sliding into a lock. And in that moment, the basilisk felt something it had never felt before. Love. Unconditional, eternal, all-consuming love for the small boy who had accepted its bond. The creature let out a hiss that echoed through the empty chamber, a sound of pure joy that no one in the magical world would ever hear. Asterisk, my master. My precious, wonderful master, asterisk. Above ground, in the air above Surrey, Fawkes was going through his own transformation. The Phoenix had been flying high above Privet Drive, preparing to descend to the small house below, when the soul bond took hold. And suddenly, Fawkes was glowing. His crimson and gold feathers blazed with impossible light, a beacon in the night sky. The phoenix fire that lived in his very being exploded outward, enveloping him in a corona of brilliant flame. Fawkes had bonded with many humans over his long, long life. But never like this. Never with such intensity, such depth, such completeness. The boy's soul was like a canvas, and Fawkes was adding his colors to it. The phoenix flame, the power of life, rebirth, and healing, merged with Harry's essence, adding its brilliance to the darkness that the basilisk had already bestowed. And the result was incredible. Fawkes could feel the boy's magic evolving, growing, expanding beyond its natural limits. The child would be powerful, not the kind of power that came from years of study and training, but the kind of power that came from being chosen by ancient forces far beyond human comprehension. Harry Potter would be the first wizard in 1,000 years who could truly master life and death. And Fawkes would be there to guide him. You have done well, little one, the phoenix thought, his voice heavy with emotion. Asterisk, you have accepted us, and we will never abandon you. This bond is eternal, Fawkes began his descent, swooping down toward the small house at 4 Privet Drive. He had to see the boy. Had to protect him. Had to begin the work of raising him into the master he was destined to become. In the cupboard, Harry's body was on fire. Not a painful fire, no, this was something else entirely. It was a fire of transformation, a blaze of creation that was reshaping him from the inside out. The basilisk's magic was cool and dark, seeping into his bones like shadow. It gave him strength, resilience, and a connection to death that would allow him to see things no one else could see. Fawkes's magic was hot and bright, burning through his veins like liquid sunlight. It gave him healing, hope, and a connection to life that would allow him to survive things no one else could survive. The two powers danced together inside him, swirling and mingling, finding their balance. And at the center of it all was Harry himself, a small, broken boy who was suddenly becoming something far greater. More, he thought desperately. I need more. I need to understand what I am now. I need to, breathe, little master. The basilisk's voice was soothing, calming his racing thoughts. Just breathe. Let the magic take hold. We are here. We will always be here, Harry took a shaky breath. And then another. The fire inside him began to subside, settling into a warm glow at the center of his being. He could feel both the basilisk and Fawkes now, two presences that were separate but connected, bound to him through the soul bond. He could also feel his own magic. It was different now. Before, his magic had been like a wild animal, unpredictable, untamed, bursting out of him in moments of strong emotion. Now it was calm, controlled, powerful beyond anything he'd ever imagined. Harry opened his eyes. The golden feather was still resting on his chest, but it had changed. It had fused with his skin, leaving behind a faint golden mark shaped like a phoenix in mid-flight. Harry touched the mark. A small flame flickered to life at his fingertip, red and gold, dancing merrily in the darkness. Harry stared at it, his eyes wide with wonder. That is the phoenix flame, Fawkes explained. It is a part of you now. You can control it, shape it, use it for healing or for protection, Harry extinguished the flame with a thought and touched the mark again. A different sensation flowed through him, cold, dark, ancient. His eyes felt strange for a moment, as if they were changing somehow, seeing things they hadn't been able to see before. And that is the basilisk's gift, Fawkes continued. You can see death now, Harry. You can sense it, touch it, even command it. Use this power wisely, Harry blinked, and his vision returned to normal. He was still in the cupboard. Still surrounded by darkness. But he was different. He could feel it in the way his magic responded to him, in the strength that flowed through his limbs, in the unshakable certainty that he would never be powerless again. Fawkes, Harry whispered. Will you stay with me? Will you protect me? Always, little one. I will never leave your side. We are bound now, you and I and the basilisk. Together forever, Harry smiled. It was a small smile, hesitant and fragile. But it was real. For the first time in 5 years, Harry Potter smiled. The Dursleys woke the next morning to find that the cupboard door was slightly ajar. Vernon Dursley was the first to notice. He was already in a foul mood, Monday mornings always made him irritable, and the sight of the open cupboard only made it worse. Boy! He bellowed, stomping toward the door. Get out here this instant! He yanked the door open, ready to drag Harry out by his hair. But the cupboard was empty. Vernon blinked, his piggy eyes squinting into the darkness. Where are you, boy? Don't play games with me! Silence. Vernon's face began to purple. He reached into the cupboard, feeling around in the shadows, but there was nothing there. The thin mattress was still in place. The threadbare blanket was still rumpled from the night before. But Harry was gone. Petunia! Vernon roared. Get in here! Aunt Petunia appeared in the hallway, her pinched face tight with anxiety. "What is it, Vernon? What's wrong? The boy is gone." Vernon gestured wildly at the empty cupboard. "He's vanished!" Petunia's eyes widened. For a moment, something flickered in their depths, something that might have been fear. Or guilt. Or both. "He must have run away," she said finally, her voice cold. "The ungrateful little brat. After everything we've done for him." Vernon grunted. "Good riddance. We're better off without him." And with that, they closed the cupboard door and went about their day as if nothing had happened. As if Harry had never existed at all. But Harry had not run away. He was perched on the windowsill of his bedroom, the smallest bedroom, the one that had once been Dudley's second playroom, watching the Dursleys through the glass. They couldn't see him. Fawkes had cast a glamour over him, a simple spell that made him invisible to mortal eyes. The Dursleys had searched the house when they realized he was gone, but they'd walked right past him without noticing a thing. Harry had watched them search. Had watched them give up. Had watched them return to their perfect, normal lives as if he didn't matter at all. And somehow, that had been the most painful part of all. Not the beatings. Not the starvation. Not the cupboard. The utter indifference. They hadn't cared that he was gone. They hadn't even tried to find him properly. They'd simply shrugged and moved on, relieved to be rid of him. Harry pressed his small hand against the glass, feeling the warmth of the sun on his palm. "I don't understand," he whispered. "Why don't they love me? What did I do wrong?" "You did nothing wrong, little one," Fawkes said softly. The Dursleys are damaged people. They fear what they cannot understand, and they hurt others to make themselves feel powerful. Your only crime was being different, Harry's lower lip trembled. "But I don't want to be different. I just want to be normal. I just want... You are not normal, Harry. You were never meant to be normal. You are extraordinary, A tear slid down Harry's cheek. "Then why does it hurt so much?" he asked. "If I'm so extraordinary, why do I feel so broken?" Fawkes was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was gentle, gentler than anything Harry had ever heard. Because you are a child, Harry. A child who has been hurt in ways no child should ever be hurt. The pain you feel is real. It is valid. And it will take time to heal. But I promise you this, you will heal. You will grow. You will become someone so powerful, so kind, so full of light that the Dursleys' cruelty will seem like nothing more than a distant memory, Harry wiped his tears with the back of his hand. "Promise?" he asked, his voice small and vulnerable. "I promise. And I never break my promises, Harry nodded slowly. He looked out the window at the row of identical houses, at the manicured lawns and clean cars and perfect lives. He'd never belonged here. He'd always known that, in some deep part of his soul. But now he knew where he did belong. With the Basilisk beneath the earth. With Fawkes in the sky. And somewhere, far away, there was a school, a magical school, where he would learn to control the power that was growing inside him. "Hogwarts," Fawkes said, answering Harry's unspoken thought. That is where you will go when you are old enough. That is where you will become the wizard you were destined to be, Harry turned away from the window. He walked across the room, his room, which he didn't really need anymore, and opened the small wooden wardrobe. Inside were his clothes. A few ragged shirts, a pair of trousers that were too short for him, socks with holes in them. Harry reached into the back of the wardrobe and pulled out the most precious thing he owned, a small cloth bag that he'd hidden years ago. Inside the bag were his belongings. A torn photograph of his parents, the only picture he had of them. A white feather that had fallen from a bird's wing months ago. A smooth stone he'd found in the garden that reminded him of something green and beautiful. A few treasures from a life of emptiness. Harry clutched the bag to his chest and looked up at Fawkes. Can I go somewhere else?" he asked hesitantly. "Somewhere where no one will hurt me?" Yes, little one. I know just the place. Fawkes extended his wing, and Harry understood. He climbed onto the phoenix's back, his small legs straddling the warm, feathered body. It was comfortable. Safe. Like being held by his mother, if he'd ever known what that felt like. Hold on, Fawkes said. Harry wrapped his arms around the phoenix's neck, burying his face in the soft feathers. And then they were flying. The world blurred past in a swirl of color and motion. Harry had never flown before, had never even been in a car, really. The Dursleys had never taken him anywhere, had never let him see anything beyond the sterile confines of Privet Drive. But now he was seeing everything. The houses shrank below him, becoming tiny squares in a sprawling suburban grid. The roads turned to ribbons, the cars to toys. The skies stretched out above him, endless and blue and utterly free. Harry laughed. It was the first time he'd laughed in as long as he could remember. The sound was high and bright, like a bell ringing in the wind. It felt strange coming out of him, like he'd forgotten how to make that sound. But it felt wonderful too. Let it out, little one, Fawkes encouraged. Laugh as much as you want. You have nothing to hide from now. You are free, Harry laughed again, throwing his arms wide. The wind whipped through his hair, tugging at the long strands that had grown wild and untamed. His glasses stayed stubbornly on his nose, a minor miracle, though Harry didn't think about it. He was too busy feeling alive. Below them, the landscape changed. The suburbs gave way to farmland, the farmland to rolling hills. Harry saw forests and rivers and mountains in the distance, things he'd only ever seen in picture books. What's that? He asked, pointing at a massive structure that was just becoming visible on the horizon. Hogwarts, Fawkes said. The School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Harry's breath caught in his throat. It was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. The castle was enormous, its towers reaching up toward the sky like grasping fingers. The windows sparkled in the afternoon light, thousands of them, each one reflecting the sun like a gemstone. There were turrets and battlements and flying buttresses that seemed to defy gravity. And around the castle, nestled in the embrace of the mountains, was a vast dark forest and a shimmering lake. It's beautiful, Harry whispered. It is, Fawkes agreed. And one day, it will be yours. All of it, Harry's eyes widened. Mine? You are the heir of the Founders, little one. The magic in your blood calls to the castle. It recognizes you, Harry shook his head, confused. But I don't understand. I thought I was just a nobody. A waste of space. You are not a nobody. You are Harry Potter, the boy who lived. The boy who defeated the Dark Lord when you were just a baby. The boy who is destined to bring balance to the magical world, Harry stared at the castle, his mind racing. He had so many questions. So many things he didn't understand. But right now, in this moment, he felt something he'd never felt before. Purpose. He had a purpose in this world. He wasn't just a burden, a mistake, a stain on the Dursleys' perfect life. He was important. He was special. He was meant for something greater. We are almost there, Fawkes said. But we cannot go to the castle yet. You are too young, and the world is not ready for you. There are those who would try to control you, manipulate you, use you for their own ends, Harry's grip on Fawkes's feathers tightened. Then where are we going? To the Chamber of Secrets, Fawkes said. The Basilisk is waiting for you there. It has prepared a place for you, a sanctuary where you will be safe, where you will grow and learn and become the master you are destined to be, Harry's heart soared. He was going to meet the Basilisk again. The creature that had spoken to him with such love, such devotion. The creature that had pledged to protect him forever. Take me to them, Harry said. Please. Of course, little one. Hold on, They descended through the earth. Harry had never imagined that flying through the ground was possible, but Fawkes's magic made it effortless. The rocks and soil parted around them like water, and they slipped through the darkness at an impossible speed. Harry didn't need a light to see. His eyes had changed. The basilisk's gift had made them better, stronger. He could see in the dark like it was daylight. And what he saw was breathtaking. They were in a tunnel now, ancient and massive, lined with stone. The walls were carved with serpents, their bodies twisting and twining around each other in endless loops. There were runes too, symbols that Harry didn't recognize but could somehow feel. They were magical. Powerful. Older than anything he'd ever encountered. And at the end of the tunnel was a door. A massive stone door with the image of a snake coiled around it, its eyes gleaming with a faint green light. You must open it, Fawkes said. Asterisk. The door will only respond to the air. To you, asterisk. Harry slid off Fawkes's back and approached the door. He felt nervous suddenly, his palms sweating, his heart racing. This was the moment. The moment when everything would change. He raised his small hand and pressed it against the snake's head. The runes on the door began to glow. And then the door opened. The Chamber of Secrets was even more magnificent than Harry had imagined. It was vast, impossibly vast, with ceilings that stretched up into darkness. There were pillars everywhere, carved with snakes that seemed to writhe and twist as Harry passed. The floor was polished stone, gleaming like obsidian in the pale green light. And at the center of it all was the basilisk. The creature was even larger than Harry had imagined. Its body was coiled around the base of the statue of Salazar Slytherin, its scales gleaming like emeralds in the dim light. Its head was raised, its hood spread wide, its yellow eyes fixed on Harry with an intensity that should have been terrifying. But Harry wasn't terrified. He was happy. Overwhelmingly, impossibly happy. My master. The basilisk's voice echoed through the chamber, deep and resonant and full of love. Asterisk, you have come. You have truly come, asterisk. The creature lowered its head, bringing its massive face down to Harry's level. Its tongue flickered out, tasting the air around him, tasting his essence. Harry reached out with a trembling hand and touched the basilisk's snout. The scales were smooth and cool beneath his fingers. They hummed with a faint vibration, as if the creature's very skin was alive with magic. I'm here, Harry said softly. I'm here, and I'm never leaving. Good, the basilisk said. Asterisk, because I will never let you go. You are mine, little master. Mine to protect, mine to love, mine to serve, asterisk. Harry's eyes filled with tears. He'd found a family. A strange, impossible family made of a phoenix and a basilisk. But it was real. It was more real than anything he'd ever known. Rest now, the basilisk said gently. Asterisk, you have been through so much. You are safe here. You are home, asterisk. Harry's eyelids suddenly felt heavy. The exhaustion of the past 5 years, the fear, the pain, the hunger, caught up with him all at once. His knees buckled, and he crumpled to the floor. Fawkes was at his side in an instant, spreading his wings over Harry like a blanket. Sleep, little one, the phoenix whispered. Asterisk, we will watch over you. No one will ever hurt you again, asterisk. Harry closed his eyes. The last thing he felt before unconsciousness claimed him was the basilisk's warm breath against his cheek and Fawkes's heart beating against his back. He was surrounded by love. For the first time in his life, he was truly, completely surrounded by love. And as he slipped into the deepest sleep he'd ever known, Harry Potter smiled. End of Chapter 1. Chapter 2, The Impossible Bond. Harry dreamed of fire and shadow. The fire was warm, golden and red, dancing through his veins like liquid sunlight. It sang to him in a voice that was older than language, older than thought, older than the very stones beneath the earth. It whispered of rebirth, of healing, of the endless cycle that turned death into life and life into death. The shadow was cool, deep and dark and ancient, curling around his soul like a serpent's embrace. It spoke to him in hisses and clicks, in the language of scales and fangs and venom. It whispered of endings, of inevitability, of the peace that came when life finally released its hold. Together, fire and shadow wove themselves into a tapestry around Harry's sleeping form. They were opposites, life and death, light and darkness, beginning and ending. They should have been enemies, should have fought for dominance over his fragile soul. But instead they danced together in perfect harmony, each one complementing the other. Balance. Harry didn't have words for what was happening to him. He was only 5 years old, and the concepts he was experiencing were far beyond his understanding. But his soul understood. His magic understood. The ancient forces that had chosen him understood. He was becoming something new. Something that had never existed before. "Wake up, little master." The basilisk's voice was a gentle rumble, like distant thunder. Harry felt it vibrating through the stone floor beneath him, through the air around him, through the very marrow of his bones. Asterisk, it is time. You must wake up. There is much to do, asterisk. Harry's eyes fluttered open. The chamber of secrets stretched above him, its ceiling lost in shadow. The pale green light was still there, emanating from somewhere deep within the walls, casting everything in an eerie glow. But the chamber was different now. It was warmer, more welcoming. The serpents carved into the pillars seemed to watch him with something like affection, their stone eyes gleaming with approval. And the basilisk was there, its massive head hovering just inches from Harry's face. Its breath washed over him, warm and slightly musky, smelling of ancient stone and deep earth. Harry sat up slowly, his body stiff from the long sleep. He must have been unconscious for hours, maybe even days. But he felt better than he had in his entire life. "You have been asleep for 3 days, the basilisk said, answering his unspoken question. Asterisk, your body needed time to adjust to the bond. The magic was intense, asterisk. Harry blinked. 3 days? Asterisk, yes. Fawkes has been watching over you the entire time. He has not left your side, asterisk. Harry turned his head and saw the phoenix perched on a nearby pillar, his feathers gleaming with that impossible crimson and gold light. He trilled softly, a sound that was almost like a lullaby, and Harry felt a wave of warmth wash over him. "Welcome back, little one," Fawkes said. "You have been through quite an ordeal." Harry rubbed his eyes, still groggy. "I don't understand. What happened to me? What did you do?" The basilisk's head lowered until it was level with Harry's, its yellow eyes meeting his green ones. The creature's gaze was intense, but not threatening. It was loving, protective, fierce. "We bonded with you, little master," the basilisk said. Asterisk, Fawkes and I. "We formed a connection with your soul that cannot be broken. You are now the master of the phoenix and the basilisk. You carry our power within you, asterisk." Harry looked down at his hands. They were small, the hands of a 5-year-old boy who had been starved and beaten and neglected. But they were different now. They glowed faintly, a golden light pulsing beneath the skin like a heartbeat. "That is the phoenix flame," Fawkes said. Asterisk, "it lives in you now. You can call it forth when you need it. It will heal you, protect you, and burn away the darkness in the world, asterisk." Harry flexed his fingers, and the glow intensified. He could feel the fire inside him, warm and eager, waiting to be used. It was like having a second heart, one that beat with the rhythm of the sun. "Wow!" he breathed. The basilisk chuckled, a deep, rumbling sound that vibrated through the chamber. Asterisk, "That is only half of it, little master. Look deeper, asterisk." Harry closed his eyes and focused inward. He could feel the phoenix flame burning in his chest, but there was something else too. Something cold and dark and ancient, coiled in the depths of his soul like a sleeping serpent. He reached for it. The darkness answered. Harry's eyes snapped open, and for a moment, they were different. They glowed with an eerie yellow light, the same color as the basilisk's own eyes. The world around him shifted, changed, became something more. He could see everything. The life force that pulsed through the chamber. The magic that hummed in the walls. The death that lurked at the edges of existence, waiting to claim all things. And he could see the basilisk itself, not just its physical form, but its essence. The creature was ancient, impossibly ancient, older than the castle, older than the founders, older than human civilization itself. Its power was vast and terrible, a force of nature that had been sleeping beneath the earth for millennia. And now it was his. Harry blinked, and the yellow glow faded from his eyes. His vision returned to normal, but the knowledge he'd gained remained. Basilisk eyes, he whispered. That's what they're called, isn't it? Yes, the basilisk said, its voice filled with approval. Asterisk, you have the power to see through all illusions. To see the truth of death itself. No one will ever be able to hide from you, little master, asterisk. Harry looked down at his hands again. The phoenix flame. The basilisk eyes. Two powers that should never have existed in one person. And yet here he was. What else can I do? He asked, his voice filled with wonder. Many things, Fawkes said. Asterisk, but first, we must teach you control. The power inside you is immense, Harry. If you lose control of it, you could hurt yourself. Or others, asterisk. Harry's face fell. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to be like them, like the Dursleys. You will never be like them, the basilisk said firmly. Asterisk, you have the heart of a protector, little master. That is why we chose you. That is why you are worthy of our bond, asterisk. Harry felt a warmth spread through his chest that had nothing to do with the phoenix flame. The basilisk's words were like a balm on his wounded soul, soothing the pain that the Dursleys had inflicted. They hurt me, Harry said softly. They hurt me so much. We know, Fawkes said. Asterisk, we felt every blow, every cruel word, every moment of hunger and cold. And we wept for you, little one, asterisk. Harry's eyes stung with tears. They don't care about me. They never cared. I was just a burden to them. You are not a burden, the basilisk said. Asterisk, you are the most precious being in existence. The magic in your blood is older than the Dursleys' entire lineage. They are nothing. They have always been nothing. But you are everything, asterisk. Harry wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. He didn't want to cry. He'd cried enough in the cupboard. But the basilisk's words touched something deep inside him, something that had been buried under years of abuse. I want to be strong, he said. I want to be strong enough that no one can ever hurt me again. Then we will make you strong, the basilisk promised. Asterisk, we will train you, teach you, guide you. You will become the master of life and death, and you will never be afraid again, asterisk. Harry nodded, his jaw set with determination. He would do it. He would become strong. He would never let anyone treat him the way the Dursleys had treated him. Not ever again. The days that followed were a blur of learning and discovery. Harry quickly discovered that the basilisk sanctuary was far more than just a single chamber. The underground complex stretched for miles beneath the earth, a labyrinth of tunnels, rooms, and hidden spaces that had been created by Salazar Slytherin himself. And the basilisk knew every inch of it. He carved these tunnels with his own hands, the basilisk explained as they explored one particularly long corridor. Asterisk, he was a powerful wizard, Salazar Slytherin. But he was also alone. He spent centuries down here, creating a refuge for himself and his descendants, asterisk. Harry trailed his fingers along the stone wall, feeling the rough texture beneath his skin. Was he a good man? He asked. Salazar Slytherin? The basilisk was silent for a long moment. He was a complicated man, it said finally. Asterisk, he wanted to protect wizards from the persecution of muggles. He believed that only the purest bloodlines should be taught magic. But he also loved the creatures of the earth, the snakes and serpents that others feared. He understood that magic was not something to be controlled, but something to be cherished. Asterisk. Harry nodded slowly. He didn't fully understand all of it, but he got the gist. He was like you, Harry said. He was feared because he was different. Yes, the basilisk agreed. Asterisk, exactly like me. And exactly like you, asterisk. Harry smiled up at the massive creature. Then I want to be like him, he said. I want to help people like he helped you. I want to protect the ones who are different. Asterisk, you will, little master. You will, asterisk. The Phoenix Flame was the first power Harry learned to control. It was surprisingly easy. The fire inside him was responsive, almost sentient, eager to obey his commands. When Harry wanted it to burn, it burned. When he wanted it to heal, it healed. When he wanted it to protect, it formed a barrier around him that nothing could penetrate. The Phoenix Flame is the essence of life itself, Fawkes explained one afternoon as Harry practiced in one of the larger chambers. Asterisk. It can heal almost any wound, destroy almost any darkness, and bring warmth to the coldest heart. But it must be used with care. Too much fire can burn, even when it is meant to heal, asterisk. Harry nodded, carefully controlling the flame that danced in his palm. He was getting better at it. The fire responded to his thoughts now, shaping itself into whatever form he desired. He could make it into a bird, a flower, a tiny sun that floated above his hand. It was beautiful. You are a natural, Fawkes said, his voice filled with pride. Asterisk, I have bonded with many wizards over the centuries, but none of them learned so quickly. The Phoenix Flame is a part of you now, Harry. It always has been. You simply needed to awaken it, asterisk. Harry extinguished the flame and looked at his hand. There was a mark on his palm now, a small golden symbol that looked like a phoenix in flight. It glowed faintly whenever he used his power, and faded when he was at rest. Is it permanent? He asked. Asterisk, yes. It is the mark of the bond. It will never fade, no matter what happens. It is a reminder that you are never alone, asterisk. Harry touched the mark gently. He liked it. It was a part of him now, like a tattoo that showed the world who he belonged to. And he belonged to Fawkes and the Basilisk. For the first time in his life, he belonged to someone. The Basilisk eyes were more difficult to master. The power of death was not something that could be easily controlled. It was ancient and dangerous, and it demanded respect. When Harry used it, he could see things that no child should ever have to see. He could see the life force that pulsed in every living thing, the bright, vibrant energy that made plants grow and animals move and people dream. He could see it fading, too, slowly draining away as age and illness took their toll. And he could see the dead. Do not be afraid, the Basilisk said as Harry flinched back from the spectral figure that had appeared before him. Asterisk, it is just a memory. A fragment of the past that has no power over you, asterisk. Harry stared at the translucent figure. It was a man, tall and handsome, with a proud bearing and a goatee. He wore old-fashioned robes and carried a wand that gleamed with power. His eyes were kind, but there was a shadow in them, something dark and ancient. Who is he? Harry whispered. Asterisk, he is the echo of Salazar Slytherin himself. A magical imprint left on this place. He is not truly here, but his presence lingers, asterisk. Harry walked toward the figure slowly. The ghost-like form of Salazar Slytherin did not move. It simply stood there, watching Harry with its kind, shadowed eyes. Harry reached out a trembling hand. Hello? He said softly. The figure did not respond. It simply faded, dissolving into the air like smoke. Harry turned back. To the Basilisk. Can I talk to him? He asked. Really talk to him? No, the Basilisk said. Asterisk, he is gone, little master. Truly gone. But his legacy lives on. His magic lives on. And it has chosen you, asterisk. Harry looked around the chamber. He could feel the magic now, the ancient, powerful magic that Salazar Slytherin had woven into the stones themselves. It recognized him. It welcomed him. It accepted him as one of its own. This is my heritage, Harry said, understanding dawning in his young mind. This is what I was born for. Yes, the Basilisk agreed. And you will never be alone in it. The days turned into weeks. The weeks turned into months. Harry grew stronger. He learned to control his powers, to understand them, to use them with precision and care. The phoenix flame became an extension of his will, healing him whenever he was hurt, protecting him whenever he was in danger. And the basilisk eyes allowed him to see the world as it truly was, a world of magic and wonder, of life and death, of endless possibility. But Harry also learned other things. He learned about the wizarding world, the hidden society of witches and wizards that existed alongside the Muggle world. He learned about Hogwarts, the school where he would eventually go to learn magic. He learned about Voldemort, the Dark Lord who had killed his parents and tried to kill him. And he learned about the prophecy. "There is a prophecy, little master," the basilisk said one evening as Harry sat on the creature's massive head, looking out over the chamber. Asterisk. It was made before you were born. It speaks of a child who will defeat the Dark Lord. Asterisk. Harry frowned. Me? He asked. I'm the child? Asterisk. Yes. You are the one who will bring balance to the world. You are the one who will end the cycle of violence and hatred that has plagued the magical world for decades. You are the chosen one. Asterisk. Harry shook his head. I don't want to be chosen, he said. I just want to be normal. I just want to live in peace. You cannot be normal, Harry, Fawkes said gently. Asterisk. You were never meant to be normal. You were meant for something greater. Asterisk. Harry was silent for a long moment. Then he looked down at his hands, the hands that held the phoenix flame and the basilisk eyes. The hands that could heal and destroy, create and end. I accept it, he said finally. I accept who I am. I accept what I am destined to become. Good, the basilisk said, its voice filled with pride. Asterisk, because the world needs you, Harry Potter. The world needs the master of life and death. Asterisk. But Harry was still a child. And children have needs that magic cannot fulfill. He needed food. He needed warmth. He needed safety. And most of all, he needed love. The basilisk and Fawkes provided all of these things. They hunted for food, bringing him fruits and vegetables from the surface. They kept him warm with their own bodies, wrapping around him like a blanket. They protected him from all danger, their power formidable and absolute. But they couldn't provide the one thing Harry needed most. Human contact. You are lonely, little master, the basilisk said one night, its voice soft with understanding. You miss the presence of other humans. Harry was curled up in the basilisk's coils, staring up at the distant ceiling. His belly was full, his body warm, his mind at peace. But his heart was aching. I don't miss the Dursleys, he said quietly. I don't miss them at all. But sometimes I wish I had a friend. Someone to talk to. Someone to play with. The basilisk was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke. Asterisk, there is a way, little master. But it is not without risk. Asterisk. Harry sat up, his eyes wide. What way? He asked. Tell me. Asterisk. There are creatures in the forest above, magical creatures who have been abandoned by their masters. They are lonely too. They long for companionship, for purpose, for someone to care for. Them. You could go to them. You could speak to them. Asterisk. Harry's heart raced. You mean I could make friends? He asked. Real friends? Asterisk. Yes. But you must be careful. Not all creatures are friendly. Some would try to harm you. And you are still young, still untrained. Asterisk. Harry climbed out of the basilisk's coils and stood on his own 2 feet. I'll be careful, he said. I promise. I need someone. I need something. I can't stay down here forever. The basilisk looked at Fawkes, who trilled softly. I will go with him, the phoenix said. Asterisk. I will protect him. He will not come to harm. Asterisk. The basilisk nodded slowly. Asterisk. Very well. But you must return before nightfall, little master. The surface is dangerous for a child of your age. And I will not rest until you are safe in my coils again. Asterisk. Harry smiled, a bright, genuine smile that lit up his entire face. Thank you, he said. Thank you both. For everything. You are welcome, little master, the Basilisk said. Asterisk, now go. Make your friends. And remember, you are never truly alone. We are always with you, asterisk. The forest above the Chamber of Secrets was vast and dark, teeming with creatures that Harry had never imagined. Fawkes led the way, his crimson and gold feathers blazing like a beacon in the gloom. The trees loomed overhead, their branches twisted together to form a canopy that blocked out most of the sunlight. The ground was soft with moss and fallen leaves, and the air was thick with the smell of earth and growing things. Harry walked cautiously, his basilisk eyes active. He could see the life force of everything around him, the trees, the plants, the insects that scuttled through the undergrowth. He could see the magic, too, woven into the very fabric of the forest. And he could see the creatures. There, Fawkes said, gesturing with his wing. In that clearing. Harry crept forward and peered through the bushes. The clearing was small, bathed in dappled sunlight that filtered through the canopy. At its center were a group of creatures, small and skittish, with large eyes and long, slender fingers. They were house elves. Harry had learned about house elves from the Basilisk. They were magical creatures who served wizards, bound to their households by ancient magic. Most of them were treated poorly, forced to work endless hours with little thanks or reward. But these house elves were different. They were ragged and dirty, their clothes torn and their bodies thin. They looked like they hadn't eaten in days. And they were huddled together, shivering in the cold. Harry's heart went out to them. They have been abandoned, Fawkes said softly. Asterisk. Their masters died, and they were left to fend for themselves. They have been wandering the forest for weeks, trying to survive. Asterisk. Harry stepped into the clearing. The house elves looked up, their eyes wide with fear. They scrambled backward, trying to get away from him. Wait! Harry called out. Please! I'm not going to hurt you! The house elves froze. They stared at him, their large eyes filled with suspicion. But they didn't run. Who are you? One of them asked telepathically. Why have you come here? Harry could understand them. The Basilisk's gift had given him the ability to communicate with all magical creatures, not just snakes. My name is Harry, he said gently. I live down there, in the Chamber of Secrets. The Basilisk is my friend. Fawkes is my friend. And I want to be your friend too. The house elves exchanged glances. A child, one of them said. A small child. He has the mark of the phoenix. And the basilisk. He is the chosen one. Harry nodded slowly. Yes. I am the chosen one. And I want to help you. All of you. I can give you food and shelter. I can keep you safe. But only if you want to be my friends. The house elves were silent for a long moment. Then, one by one, they stepped forward. Asterisk, we will serve. You, Master Harry, asterisk, the oldest of them said. Asterisk, we will be your friends, your allies, your servants. Just please take care of us, asterisk. Harry's eyes filled with tears. He stepped forward and opened his arms wide. The house elves rushed to him, enveloping him in a crowd of thin, trembling bodies. They touched him, clung to him, wept with relief. Harry wept too. He wept because he had found his purpose. He wept because he was no longer alone. And he wept because he was finally, truly loved. The news spread quickly through the magical world. A child had emerged from the Chamber of Secrets. A child with the mark of the phoenix and the basilisk on his soul. A child who commanded the loyalty of the creatures that others feared. The magical world was in an uproar. But Harry didn't care. He had found his calling. He had found his family. And he would never be alone again. The weeks that followed were filled with joy and discovery. Harry moved freely between the Chamber of Secrets and the Forbidden Forest now, his powers growing stronger with each passing day. The creatures of the forest flocked to him, drawn by his gentle nature and his magical power. Acromantulas, Thestrals, centaurs, merfolk, magical snakes of all kinds. They all pledged their loyalty to him. And Harry welcomed them all. "You are building a kingdom," Fawkes observed one evening as Harry played with a group of young acromantulas. "A kingdom of creatures who have been forgotten by the wizarding world." Harry looked up from his game, his face flushed with happiness. "I don't want a kingdom," he said. "I just want to help them. I want to give them a place where they belong." "That is what a kingdom is, little one," Fawkes said gently. Asterisk, a place where people belong. A place where they are safe and loved, asterisk. Harry nodded slowly. He understood. He was building something beautiful, something that would last for centuries. And he wouldn't trade it for anything. But the magical world was not content to leave Harry alone. One afternoon, as Harry was playing in the forest with his friends, he sensed something wrong. The air was heavy with magic, dark, malevolent magic that made his skin crawl. "Danger," the basilisk hissed in his mind. Asterisk, someone is coming. Someone with dark intentions, asterisk. Harry's basilisk eyes flared to life. He could see them now, a group of wizards, cloaked and masked, making their way through the forest. They were searching for something. Searching for him. "Death Eaters," Fawkes said, his voice sharp with alarm. Asterisk, they are Voldemort's followers. They must have heard about you, asterisk. Harry felt a surge of fear. But it was quickly replaced by anger. These were the people who had killed his parents. These were the people who had made him an orphan. These were the people who had cursed him to a life of misery and pain. And they wanted to hurt him again. "Never," Harry thought fiercely. "They will never hurt me again." He stepped out of the shadows and confronted the Death Eaters. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "What do you want?" The Death Eaters stopped in their tracks. They stared at him, their eyes widening with shock. They had expected a child, but they had not expected this, a boy of 5 with the power of the phoenix, and the basilisk burning in his soul. "The chosen one," one of them breathed. "The child of the prophecy." Harry raised his hand. The phoenix flame blazed to life in his palm, bright and fierce and full of righteous fury. "Leave now," he commanded. "Leave this forest. Leave my friends. Leave me alone. Or I will make you leave." The Death Eaters hesitated. They were powerful wizards, trained in dark magic, loyal to a master who had promised them glory and power. But they were also cowards, and they could see the power that lived in this small child. They could see the mark of the phoenix on his soul. The mark of the basilisk in his eyes. And they knew, with absolute certainty, that they were outmatched. "Retreat," one of them said, his voice trembling. "We will return with more men." They fled, disappearing into the forest like shadows. Harry stood there, his flame burning bright, watching them go. And for the first time in his life, he truly understood what he was. He was a protector. A guardian. A force of nature that could not be denied. "You did well, little master," the basilisk said, its voice filled with pride. Asterisk, you have nothing to fear from them. They are nothing. They have always been nothing, asterisk. Harry extinguished the flame and looked down at his hand. The mark of the phoenix was glowing, bright and brilliant, a sign of the power that lived within him. He smiled. "I know," he said. "I know who I am now. And I will never forget it." The months passed, and Harry grew stronger. He mastered the phoenix flame, learning to heal wounds that would have killed others. He mastered the basilisk eyes, learning to see the truth of death and life. He mastered the soul bond, learning to communicate with Fawkes and the basilisk as easily as breathing. And he began to prepare for the day when he would finally leave the Chamber of Secrets. For the day when he would enter Hogwarts. For the day when he would face Voldemort and end the cycle of darkness forever. "You are ready, little master," the basilisk said one evening. "The world is waiting for you." Harry nodded slowly. He was ready. He was strong. He was powerful. He was loved. And he would never be forgotten again. But the bond had done something else, something that even Fawkes and the Basilisk hadn't fully anticipated. It had made Harry immune to Basilisk venom. It had made him immune to Phoenix fire. It had made him immune to curses and magical corruption. The two powers, life and death, existed in perfect balance within him, protecting him from all harm. He was the master of life and death. And nothing in the world could ever touch him again. End of Chapter 2. Chapter 3. The Child Blessed by Opposites. The Chamber of Secrets had become Harry's world. Not because he was trapped there. He could leave whenever he wished, could walk through the forest and feel the sun on his face and the wind in his hair. But the chamber was where he felt safe. It was where he belonged. It was where the two great beings who loved him most in all the world waited for him to return. And tonight something extraordinary was about to happen. Harry could feel it in the air, a charge, a crackle of ancient magic that made his skin prickle and his heart beat faster. The basilisk was coiled around the base of Salazar Slytherin's statue, its massive body tense with anticipation. Fawkes was perched on a nearby pillar, his feathers blazing brighter than Harry had ever seen. They were both watching him. Waiting. "Are you ready, little master?" the basilisk asked, its voice a deep rumble that vibrated through the stone floor. Harry stood in the center of the chamber, his small feet bare on the cold stone. He was dressed in simple robes now, robes that the house elves had woven for him from the finest materials they could find. They were deep green, the color of the basilisk scales, and embroidered with golden thread that shimmered like phoenix fire. He looked like a prince. He looked like a king. He looked like the master of life and death. "I'm ready," Harry said, his voice steady despite the nervous flutter in his chest. "What do I need to do?" "Just stand still," Fawkes said. The blessings will come to you. You do not need to reach for them. They will reach for you, Harry took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The chamber fell silent. For a long moment, nothing happened. Harry stood there, his heart pounding, waiting for something, anything, to occur. And then it began. The phoenix flame that lived in his chest flared to life, brighter than it had ever been before. It surged through his veins like liquid fire, burning away every impurity, every weakness, every trace of the darkness that the Dursleys had tried to instill in him. Harry gasped. The fire was incredible, painful and beautiful and overwhelming all at once. It was transforming him, reshaping him from the inside out. His bones felt like they were melting and reforming. His skin felt like it was being peeled away and replaced with something new. "Let it happen," Fawkes said gently. Do not fight it. The phoenix flame is making you stronger. It is giving you the power of life itself. Harry gritted his teeth and endured. The fire burned through him for what felt like hours. It touched every part of his being, his body, his mind, his soul. It healed wounds he didn't even know he had, both physical and emotional. It filled him with warmth and light and the pure, unbridled joy of existence. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the fire subsided. Harry opened his eyes. He felt different. Stronger. More alive. His body was humming with energy, and he could feel the magic pulsing through him like a second heartbeat. But the transformation wasn't over. "Now comes the basilisk's gift," the creature said, its voice filled with ancient power. "The blessing of death." Harry braced himself. The cold came next. It started in his eyes, spreading outward like frost on a windowpane. His vision blurred, shifted, and suddenly he could see things he'd never seen before. The life force that pulsed through the chamber. The threads of magic that connected everything together. The shadows that lurked at the edges of existence, waiting for their moment. And he could see the dead. They were everywhere, echoes of the past, fragments of souls that had once lived and loved and died. They drifted through the chamber like wisps of smoke, their forms translucent and ethereal. But they didn't frighten him. They welcomed him. "The Master," they whispered. "The Master of Death has come." Harry's basilisk eyes blazed with power. The cold spread through his body, seeping into his bones, his muscles, his very soul. It was like being wrapped in ice, but it didn't hurt. It was peaceful. Calming. A reminder that death was not something to be feared, but something to be accepted. You are the balance, the basilisk said. Asterisk, you hold both life and death within you. They are not enemies, little master. They are two sides of the same coin. And you are the one who will keep them in perfect equilibrium. Asterisk. Harry felt the two powers settle into place inside him. The phoenix flame burned in his chest, warm and bright and full of life. The basilisk eyes glowed in his mind, cold and deep and full of death. They were opposites, yes, but they didn't fight each other. They danced together. They complemented each other. They created something new, something that had never existed before. Harry opened his eyes and looked down at his hands. They were glowing, not just with the golden light of the phoenix, but with a strange, shimmering light that seemed to contain both gold and green. It was beautiful. Ethereal. Like nothing he'd ever seen. The blessing is complete, Fawkes said, his voice filled with awe. Asterisk, you are now the first wizard in history to carry both the phoenix flame and the basilisk eyes. You are the master of life and death, asterisk. Harry looked up at his two guardians. I feel incredible, he said. I feel like I could do anything. I feel like I could move mountains. I feel like I could. He stopped, his eyes widening. What is it, little master? The basilisk asked, its voice sharp with concern. Harry took a shaky breath. I can feel the magic, he said. All of it. The magic in the chamber. The magic in the forest above. The magic in the wizarding world. It's all connected to me. Like threads. And I can see where they lead. The threads of fate, Fawkes said softly. Asterisk, you are seeing the threads of fate, Harry. The connections between all things. This is a power that has not been seen for centuries, asterisk. Harry reached out and touched one of the threads. It shimmered under his fingers, bright and golden, pulsing with life. He followed it with his eyes, watching as it wound through the chamber and disappeared into the stone wall. That thread leads to Hogwarts, the basilisk said. Asterisk, to the school where you will one day learn to master your powers. It is the thread of your destiny, asterisk. Harry felt a surge of excitement. Can I see the future? He asked. Can I see what's going to happen? No, Fawkes said gently. Asterisk, the threads show possibilities, not certainties. They show the paths that could be taken, not the paths that will be taken. You have the power to shape your own destiny, Harry. The threads are just guidance, asterisk. Harry nodded slowly. He understood. He wasn't a puppet, controlled by fate. He was a free agent, capable of making his own choices. And that was exactly how he wanted it. The next few weeks were spent exploring his new powers. Harry discovered that the Phoenix Flame had given him much more than just the ability to heal. He could create fire with a thought, could shape it into any form he desired, could use it to protect himself from any attack. And the Phoenix Flame had also given him something else. Rebirth. The Phoenix Flame can bring you back from the dead, Fawkes explained one afternoon as Harry practiced in the chamber. Asterisk, if you die, the fire will consume your body and recreate it. You will be reborn, just as I am reborn, asterisk. Harry's eyes widened. Really? I can come back from the dead? Asterisk, yes. But it is not something to be done lightly. The process is painful, and it takes a toll on your soul. You should only use it in the most dire of circumstances, asterisk. Harry nodded solemnly. He understood. Death was not something to be mocked or abused. It was a sacred part of the cycle of life, and it should be respected. But it was comforting to know that he had a safety net. Meanwhile, the basilisk eyes had given him powers that were even more extraordinary. He could see the truth of any situation, no matter how well hidden. He could see through illusions, deceptions, and lies. He could see the magic in people's souls, their strengths and weaknesses, their hopes and fears. And he could see death. The basilisk eyes allow you to see the moment of a person's death, the basilisk explained. Asterisk, you can see the shadows that gather around them, the darkness that will eventually claim them. It is a heavy burden to carry, little master. Are you sure you are ready for it? Asterisk. Harry was silent for a long moment. He thought about the Dursleys. He thought about the people who had hurt him, who had made him feel worthless. He thought about the Death Eaters who had killed his parents. And he thought about all the innocent people who would die in the coming war. I'm ready, he said finally. I need to be ready. If I'm going to protect people, I need to know what's coming for them. You are wise beyond your years, little master, the basilisk said, its voice filled with pride. Asterisk, you will be a great leader one day. I am certain of it. Asterisk. But Harry soon discovered that the blessings had done more than just give him powers. They had made him immune to things that would kill a normal wizard. It started with a simple accident. Harry was practicing with the phoenix flame, trying to create a more complex shape, a bird, like Fawkes. He lost focus for just a moment, and the fire flared out of control, engulfing his hand. Harry screamed. But the fire didn't burn him. He stared at his hand in disbelief as the flames licked at his skin, warm and pleasant rather than agonizing. He could feel the fire, could feel its heat, but it didn't hurt him. It welcomed him. You are immune to phoenix fire, Fawkes said, his voice filled with wonder. Asterisk, the flame recognizes you as its master. It will never harm you. Asterisk. Harry extinguished the fire and examined his hand. There wasn't a single burn mark. His skin was unblemished, as if nothing had happened. That's amazing, he breathed. But the immunity didn't stop there. A few days later, Harry was playing in the chamber when he accidentally pricked his finger on a sharp piece of stone. The wound was small, barely a scratch, but it was enough to draw blood. Harry expected the wound to heal slowly, as it always had. But instead, something else happened. The basilisk venom that was now a part of him surged to the surface, coating the wound in a thin layer of green-tinged liquid. The liquid hissed and bubbled for a moment, and then the wound sealed itself shut. Harry stared at his finger, his eyes wide. You are immune to basilisk venom, the basilisk said, its voice filled with satisfaction. Asterisk, your blood now contains the venom itself. You cannot be poisoned by any known substance, magical or otherwise. Asterisk. Harry touched his finger gingerly. Does that mean I'm venomous? He asked. Can I kill people with my blood? The venom is only activated when you wish it to be, the basilisk explained. Asterisk, you can use it to heal wounds, as you just did, or you can use it to destroy your enemies. The choice is yours. Asterisk. Harry nodded slowly. He had the power to kill with a single drop of blood. The thought was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. But he knew he would only use it when absolutely necessary. The blessings continued to reveal themselves in unexpected ways. Harry discovered that he was immune to curses, all curses, no matter how powerful. Dark magic simply rolled off him like water off a stone. The killing curse, the Cruciatus curse, the Imperious curse, none of them could touch him. And he was immune to magical corruption. Voldemort's Horcruxes, the pieces of his soul that were scattered across Britain, had no power over Harry. They couldn't corrupt him, couldn't influence him, couldn't turn him to the darkness. He was pure, immaculate, untouchable. You are the first wizard in history to be completely immune to dark magic, Fawkes said, his voice filled with awe. Asterisk, Voldemort's power cannot harm you. His followers cannot harm you. You are truly invincible, little one. Asterisk. Harry shook his head. I'm not invincible, he said softly. I can still die. I can still be hurt. The phoenix flame can bring me back, but it's not the same. I'm not a god, Fawkes. I'm just a boy. Asterisk, you are more than a boy, Harry. You are the master of life and death. And you will change the world. Asterisk. Harry was silent for a long moment. Then he looked up, his green eyes blazing with determination. "Then let's change it," he said. "Let's make the world a better place. Let's protect the innocent and punish the wicked. Let's bring balance to a world that's been broken for too long." "Yes," the basilisk said, its voice deep and resonant. "Let's." But Harry soon realized that with great power came great responsibility. His new abilities were not just gifts, they were burdens. He could see the death that waited for everyone he met, could see the shadows that gathered around them. He could feel the pain of the world, the suffering of all living things, pressing against his soul. And it was exhausting. "You need to learn to shield yourself," Fawkes said one evening as Harry lay in the basilisk's coils, his face pale with exhaustion. The power of the basilisk eyes is overwhelming. You cannot see death constantly. It will drive you mad. Harry nodded weakly. "Teach me," he said. "Teach me how to control it." And so the training began. Fawkes and the basilisk taught Harry how to shield his mind, how to protect himself from the constant barrage of information that his powers brought him. They taught him how to use the phoenix flame to calm his emotions, to find peace in the midst of chaos. And slowly, Harry began to master his powers. He learned to turn the basilisk eyes on and off at will, only using them when he needed to see the truth of a situation. He learned to control the phoenix flame, using it to heal and protect rather than destroy. He learned to find balance in his own soul, to keep the forces of life and death in perfect equilibrium. And as he mastered his powers, he began to understand what he truly was. He was not just a wizard. He was a force of nature. A living embodiment of the balance that had been missing from the world for so long. "You are ready, little master," the basilisk said one morning. The world is waiting for you. It is time for you to claim your destiny. Harry stood in the center of the chamber, his small fists clenched at his sides. He was 6 years old now, nearly 7. He had been in the chamber for almost 2 years, growing and learning and becoming something greater than he'd ever thought possible. And now it was time to leave. "I'm ready," Harry said. "Take me to the world. Let me show them what I've become." "Not yet," Fawkes said gently. There is one more thing you need to learn. One more power you need to master, Harry frowned. "What power?" he asked. "What else is there?" "The power of forgiveness," Fawkes said. The power to let go of the past and embrace the future. You have been hurt so deeply, Harry. The Dursleys, the Death Eaters, the world that abandoned you. You carry that pain with you every day. And it will weigh you down if you let it, Harry's eyes filled with tears. "I can't forgive them," he said, his voice breaking. "They hurt me so much. They made me feel worthless. They made me feel like I was nothing." Forgiveness is not for them, Harry. It is for you. It is about releasing the pain so that you can move forward. It is about choosing love over hate, hope over despair, Harry shook his head. "I don't know if I can do it," he admitted. "I don't know if I'm strong enough." "You are the strongest person I have ever known," Fawkes said softly. You have survived things that would have broken anyone else. You have risen above the darkness that tried to consume you. You are the master of life and death, Harry. And you are capable of anything, Harry was silent for a long moment. And then, slowly, he nodded. "I'll try," he said. "I'll try to forgive them. Not because they deserve it, but because I deserve peace." "That is all we ask, little master," the basilisk said. "That is all we ask." The process of forgiveness took months. Harry had to confront the pain that the Dursleys had caused him, the beatings, the starvation, the constant belittling. He had to acknowledge the anger and hatred that had festered in his soul for so long. He had to accept that he would never get an apology from them, never get the closure he deserved. And then he had to let it go. It wasn't easy. There were days when Harry wanted to give up, when the pain was too much to bear. But Fawkes and the basilisk were always there, supporting him, loving him, reminding him that he was worth more than the Dursleys had ever made him feel. And slowly, Harry began to heal. He stopped waking up in the middle of the night, screaming from nightmares of his time at Privet Drive. He stopped flinching whenever someone moved too quickly. He stopped expecting to be hurt, stopped waiting for the blow that would never come. He became free. "You have done it, little master," the basilisk said one evening, its voice filled with pride. Asterisk, "You have let go of the past. You are truly ready for the world." Asterisk. Harry smiled, a genuine smile that lit up his entire face. "I'm ready," he said. "I'm ready to show them who I really am." "And who are you, Harry?" Fawkes asked, his voice soft and curious. Harry stood up, his small frame radiating power and confidence. "I am Harry Potter," he said. "The master of life and death. The chosen one. The boy who will bring balance to the magical world." "Yes," Fawkes said. "Yes, you are." The world was waiting. And Harry was finally ready to meet it. End of Chapter 3. Chapter 4, Escape from Privet Drive. The plan had been forming for months. Harry sat in the Chamber of Secrets, his small legs crossed beneath him, his eyes closed in concentration. He was meditating, something Fawkes had taught him to do when his thoughts became too chaotic, too overwhelming. But tonight his thoughts were not chaotic. They were clear. Crystal clear. "You are certain about this, little master?" the basilisk asked, its voice a low rumble in the back of Harry's mind. "Once you leave, there is no going back." Harry opened his eyes. The chamber stretched before him, vast and ancient and full of power. The green light that emanated from the walls cast everything in an eerie glow, making the stone serpents seem almost alive. "I'm certain," Harry said firmly. "I need to go back. I need to see them. I need to close that chapter of my life." "You could simply stay here," Fawkes said gently. Asterisk, "You have everything you need in the chamber. Food, shelter, companions. The world above is dangerous, Harry. The Death Eaters are still searching for you." Asterisk. Harry shook his head. "I know," he said. "But I can't hide forever. I need to face my past. I need to show them that they didn't break me. That they never could break me." The basilisk let out a long, slow hiss. Asterisk, "You are brave, little master. Braver than any wizard I have ever known. But bravery is not the same as wisdom. Are you sure this is the right path?" Asterisk. Harry stood up, his small frame radiating determination. "I have to do this," he said. "For myself. So I can truly move on. So I can be free." The basilisk and Fawkes exchanged a long look. Then the phoenix spoke. Asterisk, "Very well. We will go with you. We will protect you. But you must promise me something, Harry." Asterisk. Harry nodded. "Anything." Asterisk, "You will not let their cruelty touch your heart. You will not let their hatred poison your soul. You are better than them, Harry. So much better. And you must remember that, no matter what they say or do." Asterisk. Harry's eyes stung with tears. "I promise," he said softly. "I promise I won't let them win." The journey to Privet Drive took longer than Harry had expected. He traveled through the underground tunnels that the basilisk had carved, moving through the darkness with the ease of long practice. The phoenix flame lit his way, casting a warm golden glow on the ancient stones. Fawkes flew beside him, his crimson and gold feathers shimmering in the firelight. "Are you nervous?" the phoenix asked. Harry was silent for a long moment. "A little," he admitted. "I don't know what I'm going to say to them. I don't know if I can even speak to them without losing control." "You have more control than you realize," Fawkes said gently. Asterisk, "The power of the phoenix and the basilisk flows through your veins. You are the master of life and death. You are not the frightened child who lived in that cupboard. You are so much more." Asterisk. Harry nodded slowly. He knew Fawkes was right. He was not the same boy who had cowered in the darkness, terrified of his uncle's fists and his aunt's cruel words. He was stronger now. more powerful, more confident. But some fears never fully go away. We will be right beside you, the basilisk said, its voice a comforting presence in Harry's mind. Asterisk, you are never alone, little master. Never, asterisk. Harry took a deep breath. Let's go, he said. Let's get this over with. The tunnel opened into a small cave, hidden beneath the roots of a massive oak tree. Harry climbed out of the cave, blinking in the bright sunlight. The forest of Surrey stretched before him, a small patch of woods that bordered the neighborhood of Privet Drive. It was strange to be back. The trees, the grass, the sky, it all looked the same as it had when he'd left. But Harry was different. Everything was different. The house is just beyond those trees, Fawkes said. Are you ready? Harry took a deep breath. I'm ready, he said. He walked through the forest, his bare feet silent on the soft earth. Fawkes flew above him, hidden from mortal eyes by a glamour that made him look like nothing more than a shimmer in the air. And the basilisk watched from beneath the earth, ready to strike if any danger threatened. Harry emerged from the trees and saw Privet Drive for the first time in 2 years. It was exactly as he remembered it. The identical houses. The manicured lawns. The perfect, pristine cars parked in the driveways. It was like a picture from a magazine, untouched by the chaos and darkness that lurked beneath the surface. But Harry could see the truth now. He could see the shadows that clung to each house, the secrets that each family hid. He could see the unhappiness that festered behind the closed curtains, the fear and anger and resentment that simmered just below the surface. And when he looked at number 4, Privet Drive, he saw something else. He saw the darkness that had consumed his relatives. The Dursleys were not evil. Not truly. They were just small. Narrow-minded. Afraid of anything they couldn't understand. They had hurt him because they were hurting themselves, because they couldn't see past their own fear and prejudice. Harry felt a surge of pity for them. You are remarkable, Fawkes said softly. Asterisk, most people would feel hatred. But you feel compassion. That is the mark of a true master, asterisk. Harry didn't respond. He walked up the path to the front door, his heart pounding in his chest. He raised his small hand and knocked. The door swung open. Aunt Petunia stood in the doorway, her pinched face contorted with annoyance. Yes? She snapped. What do you? She stopped. Her eyes widened in shock, her jaw dropping open. She stared at Harry as if she'd seen a ghost, and in a way, she had. Harry? She breathed. Harry? Is that really you? Harry met her eyes. Hello, Aunt Petunia, he said calmly. It's been a long time. The next few minutes were chaos. Petunia screamed for Vernon, who came thundering down the stairs with his face purple and his fists clenched. Dudley waddled into the hallway, his piggy eyes wide with a mixture of fear and confusion. And Harry stood in the middle of it all, perfectly calm. Where have you been? Vernon roared, his spittle flying through the air. Do you have any idea what you've put us through? We had the police looking for you. We had to tell everyone you ran away. We were the talk of the neighborhood. Harry didn't flinch. I was safe, he said quietly. I was with people who love me. Vernon's face went from purple to an alarming shade of maroon. Love you? He spluttered. Love you? No one loves you, you ungrateful little freak. You're a burden. A stain on this family. We should have left you to rot in that cupboard. Harry's eyes flickered with something ancient and powerful. I didn't come here to fight, he said. I came here to say goodbye. Petunia's face went pale. Goodbye? She repeated. What do you mean, goodbye? Harry looked at her, really looked at her. With his basilisk eyes he could see the truth of her soul. The fear. The guilt. The deep, buried love she had once felt for her sister, his mother. I know you're not a bad person, Aunt Petunia, he said gently. I know you were just scared. Scared of the magic. Scared of what people would think. Scared of being different. Petunia's eyes filled with tears. Harry, but I can't stay here. Harry continued. I was never meant to stay here. This was never my home. It was just a place I was forced to live. A place where I was hurt and neglected and made to feel worthless. Vernon lunged forward, his hand raised to strike. Harry didn't move. He just looked at his uncle, and suddenly, Vernon froze in his tracks. His eyes widened in terror as he looked into Harry's gaze. The basilisk eyes were active, and Vernon could see death staring back at him. Don't, Harry said softly. Don't ever raise your hand to me again. I am not the same boy who lived in your cupboard. I am so much more than that. Vernon's hand dropped to his side. He was trembling, actually trembling, his face pale and slick with sweat. He backed away from Harry as if he'd seen a monster. And in a way, he had. Stay away from me, Vernon whispered. Stay away from all of us. Harry nodded. I will, he said. That's what I came here to tell you. I'm leaving for good. You'll never have to see me again. But before I go, I need you to understand something. Petunia was crying now, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. What? She whispered. What do you need us to understand? Harry looked at her, really looked at her. You didn't break me, he said. You tried. You tried so hard to make me feel worthless, to make me believe I was nothing. But you failed. I'm not broken. I'm not worthless. I am powerful, and I am loved, and I will never, ever let anyone treat me the way you treated me ever again. Petunia sobbed. Harry, I'm so sorry. But Harry was already turning away. Goodbye, Aunt Petunia. Goodbye, Uncle Vernon. Goodbye, Dudley. I hope you find peace someday. I really do. He walked out the door and didn't look back. The sun was setting over Privet Drive as Harry emerged from the house. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, the clouds drifting lazily across the horizon. It was beautiful, the kind of beauty that Harry had never been able to appreciate when he was a prisoner in this place. But now he was free. You did well, little master, the basilisk said, its voice filled with pride. Asterisk, you showed remarkable restraint. I would have burned them all to ashes, asterisk. Harry smiled sadly. There. Not worth the effort, he said. They're just sad, frightened people. I can't hate them anymore. I can only pity them. That is wisdom beyond your years, Fawkes said. Asterisk, you have truly grown, Harry. You have become something extraordinary, asterisk. Harry looked up at the sky. Where do we go now? He asked. Back to the chamber? For now, Fawkes said. Asterisk, but not for long. There is a world waiting for you, Harry. A world of magic and wonder. A world where you will be celebrated, not feared, asterisk. Harry nodded. He was ready for that world. He was ready to leave the Dursleys behind, to embrace his destiny, to become the master he was always meant to be. But first, there was one more thing he needed to do. Can we go to Godric's Hollow? He asked. I want to see where my parents lived. I want to see where they died. Fawkes was silent for a long moment. Asterisk, are you sure, Harry? That place holds many painful memories, asterisk. Harry nodded. I know, he said. But I need to see it. I need to say goodbye to them too. Asterisk, very well. Climb on my back. I will take you there, asterisk. Harry climbed onto Fawkes's back, wrapping his arms around the phoenix's warm neck. The feathers were soft beneath his fingers, pulsing with a gentle heat that soothed his aching heart. Thank you, he whispered. Asterisk, always, little one. Always, asterisk. The flight to Godric's Hollow was short. Harry had never seen the village before, but he recognized it immediately. There was something about the place, something that called to him on a level deeper than words. It was the home of his ancestors. The place where his parents had lived and loved and died. Fawkes landed in a small garden, hidden from view by a glamour. Harry dismounted and looked around, his heart pounding in his chest. The house was in ruins. The roof had collapsed, the walls were blackened with smoke, and the garden was overgrown with weeds. A plaque on the gate read, Asterisk on this spot, on the night of October 31st, 1981, Lily and James Potter lost their lives. Their son, Harry, survived. The Dark Lord was defeated. Asterisk. Harry touched the plaque gently. I don't remember them, he said softly. I was too young. But I feel them. I can feel their presence here. They loved you very much, Fawkes said. Asterisk. They died to protect you. They gave their lives so that you could live. Asterisk. Harry's eyes filled with tears. I wish I could have known them, he said. I wish I could have grown up with them. I wish they could have seen what I've become. They can see you, Fawkes said gently. Asterisk. Their spirits watch over you, Harry. They are proud of you. So proud, asterisk. Harry wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. Do you think they would have loved me? He asked. Even with all this power? Even with the Basilisk and the Phoenix? They would have loved you more than anything, Fawkes said. Asterisk, you are their son, Harry. Their precious, wonderful son. Nothing could ever change that, asterisk. Harry smiled. It was a sad smile, but it was genuine. Goodbye, Mom, he whispered. Goodbye, Dad. I love you. I'll always love you. He turned away from the house and climbed back onto Fawkes's back. Take me home, he said. Take me back to the chamber. As you wish, little one. The journey back was quiet. Harry was lost in thought, his mind filled with images of his parents, his relatives, his past. He had faced his demons today and emerged victorious. He had finally closed the door on his childhood. And now he was ready for the future. You are tired, Fawkes observed. Asterisk, rest, little one. I will wake you when we arrive, asterisk. Harry nodded, his eyelids already growing heavy. He leaned against Fawkes's warm feathers and let himself drift off to sleep. He dreamed of his parents. They were young and beautiful, their faces filled with love. They were holding him, a tiny baby with a tuft of black hair and eyes as green as his mother's. Harry, his mother whispered. Our precious Harry. We love you so much. His father smiled, his hand reaching out to stroke Harry's cheek. We will always be with you, he said. Always. No matter what happens. The dream faded, and Harry woke with tears on his face. But they were happy tears. We are almost there, Fawkes said. The chamber awaits. Harry wiped his eyes and nodded. Good, he said. I'm ready to go home. The Chamber of Secrets was exactly as Harry had left it. The green light glowed softly from the walls, and the stone serpents watched him with their ancient eyes. The basilisk was coiled around the base of Salazar Slytherin's statue, waiting for him. Welcome back, little master, the basilisk said. How did it go? Harry slid off Fawkes's back and walked toward the basilisk. It went well, he said. Better than I expected. I said what I needed to say, and now I'm free. You are free, the basilisk agreed. Asterisk, you have always been free, Harry. You just needed to realize it, asterisk. Harry smiled. He walked over to the basilisk's massive head and pressed his cheek against the smooth scales. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you for everything. For protecting me. For loving me. For making me who I am. The basilisk let out a low, rumbling purr. Asterisk, you are welcome, little master. It has been my honor to serve you, asterisk. Harry closed his eyes and let himself enjoy the moment. He was home. He was safe. He was loved. And nothing in the world could ever take that away from him. But even as Harry basked in the warmth of his family, the wizarding world was stirring. The Death Eaters had reported their encounter with the child in the forest. Voldemort had heard the news, had learned of the boy with the phoenix flame and the basilisk eyes. And he was afraid. The child must be eliminated, Voldemort hissed to his followers. Asterisk, he is a threat to everything I have built. Find him. Bring him to me. Kill him if you must, asterisk. The Death Eaters bowed and scurried. Away. But they would never find Harry. He was hidden too deep, protected by magic that was older than the Dark Lord himself. The Chamber of Secrets was a fortress that no one could breach. And Harry was safe. You are safe, little master, the Basilisk said, reading Harry's thoughts. Asterisk, no one will ever find you here. No one will ever hurt you again, asterisk. Harry nodded. He believed it. He truly believed it. Because he was the master of life and death. And nothing in the world could touch him. The days that followed were peaceful. Harry spent his time exploring the chamber, learning more about the ancient magic that surrounded him. He practiced with the phoenix flame and the basilisk eyes, growing stronger with each passing day. But he also played. He ran through the tunnels with the house elves, laughing as they chased each other through the shadows. He talked to the spiders and the snakes, learning their secrets and their stories. He swam in the underground lake, his body moving through the water with the grace of a born creature. He was happy. Truly, completely happy. You have grown so much, Fawkes observed one evening as Harry played with a group of young acromantulas. Asterisk, when I first met you, you were a broken, frightened child. Now you are strong. Confident. Powerful, asterisk. Harry looked up, his face flushed with exertion. Thank you, he said. I couldn't have done it without you. Without both of you. You would have found your way eventually, the Basilisk said. Asterisk. The magic in your blood is too powerful to be ignored. We simply accelerated the process, asterisk. Harry laughed. You make it sound like I was a potion, he said. Just add Phoenix and Basilisk, stir well, and wait for results. The Basilisk let out a rumbling chuckle. Asterisk. Something like that, little master. Something like that, asterisk. Harry's laughter faded as a sudden thought struck him. Fawkes, he said slowly. The Basilisk. I've been thinking, what happens when I go to Hogwarts? I can't take the Basilisk with me. And you'll have to stay in the headmaster's office. We won't be together anymore. The Basilisk's eyes flickered with something that might have been sadness. Asterisk, we will always be together, little master. The bond we share cannot be broken by distance. I will feel your presence even if we are miles apart. I will always be with you, asterisk. Fawkes nodded. Asterisk, and I will be in the headmaster's office, yes. But I will visit you whenever I can. And you can visit me. The bond allows us to communicate across any distance. We will never truly be apart, asterisk. Harry let out a breath of relief. Good, he said. I don't think I could bear to lose you. Either of you. You will never lose us, the Basilisk promised. Asterisk, we are yours forever, little master. Forever and always, asterisk. Harry smiled. He was surrounded by love, protected by power, and blessed by ancient magic. He was ready for anything. The years passed in a blur of growth and learning. Harry turned 7. Then 8. Then 9. With each passing year, his powers grew stronger, his wisdom deeper. He mastered the phoenix flame, the basilisk eyes, and the ancient magic of the chamber. He was ready. Ready for Hogwarts. Ready for the world. Ready for his destiny. It is time, Fawkes said one morning. Asterisk, time for you to go to Hogwarts. Time for you to claim your place in the magical world, asterisk. Harry stood in the center of the chamber, his body tall and strong. He was 11 years old now, or close enough to it that it didn't matter. He had grown into a handsome young man, with messy black hair, bright green eyes, and a calm, confident demeanor that belied his youth. Are you ready? He asked. We are always ready for you, little master, the Basilisk said. Asterisk, go. Claim your destiny. We will be watching, asterisk. Harry nodded. He looked at Fawkes, at the Basilisk, at the chamber that had been his home for 7 years. Thank you, he said. Thank you. For everything. I will never forget what you've done for me. We know, Fawkes said gently. Asterisk, now go. The world is waiting, asterisk. Harry turned and walked out of the chamber. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. His family was with him, always. And he was ready to face whatever came next. End of Chapter 4. Chapter 5, Secrets of the Chamber. The Chamber of Secrets held more than just a basilisk. Harry had always known this, on some level. The ancient tunnels that stretched beneath the castle were too vast, too elaborate, to be merely a lair for a single creature. Salazar Slytherin had been a man of immense vision and power. He would not have built something so magnificent for a single purpose. But it wasn't until Harry was nearly 10 years old that he began to truly understand the depths of the chamber's secrets. It started with a dream. Harry had been sleeping in the basilisk's coils, as he often did, when the vision came to him. He was walking through a tunnel he'd never seen before, its walls lined with ancient runes that glowed with a faint blue light. The floor was smooth, polished stone, and the air was cool and dry, carrying the scent of dust and age. At the end of the tunnel was a door. It was massive, taller than Harry, wider than his arms could stretch. The door was made of dark wood, reinforced with iron bands that had long since rusted. And carved into its surface was the image of a serpent, coiled around a book. Harry woke with a gasp. "What is it, little master?" the basilisk asked, its voice filled with concern. "You were dreaming." Harry sat up, his heart pounding. "There's a door," he said. "A door I've never seen before. It's in a tunnel I've never been in. And I think it's important." The basilisk was silent for a long moment. "There are many tunnels in the chamber complex," it said finally. Many rooms that even I have not explored. Slytherin was a secretive man. He hid his greatest treasures where no one could find them. Harry's eyes widened. "Treasures?" he repeated. "What kind of treasures?" "Knowledge," the basilisk said. Power. Secrets that the world has long forgotten. Slytherin was one of the most powerful wizards who ever lived. He created things that even Dumbledore cannot replicate. Harry climbed out of the basilisk's coils, his mind racing. "I need to find that door," he said. "I need to see what's behind it." "Are you sure, little master?" Fawkes asked, his voice gentle but cautious. "Some secrets are better left buried." Harry shook his head. "Not this one," he said. "I can feel it. The door is important. It's calling to me. I have to find it." The basilisk let out a long, slow hiss. "Very well. I will guide you to the tunnel. But you must be careful. Slytherin's traps are not kind to the unwary. Harry nodded solemnly. "I'll be careful," he promised. "I won't take any unnecessary risks." That is all I ask, little master. That is all I ask. The journey to the tunnel took hours. Harry had to navigate through passages he'd never seen before, following the basilisk's mental guidance through the labyrinthine depths of the chamber complex. The tunnels grew narrower as he descended, the walls rougher, the air colder. And then, finally, he saw it. The tunnel from his dream. The walls were lined with runes, ancient symbols that pulsed with a soft, blue light. Harry recognized some of them from his studies, but others were completely foreign, their meanings lost to time. He walked forward slowly, his heart pounding in his chest. The door was at the end of the tunnel, just as he'd seen in his dream. It was massive and ancient, its surface covered in dust and cobwebs. But the serpent carving was still visible. Harry reached out and touched the door. The runes on the walls flared to life, their blue light intensifying until the entire tunnel was bathed in an eerie glow. The serpent carving on the door moved, its stone eyes flickering open. "Who dares disturb the resting place of Salazar Slytherin?" A voice echoed through the tunnel, ancient, powerful, and filled with warning. Harry didn't flinch. "My name is Harry Potter," he said calmly. "I am the heir of Slytherin. I have come to claim what is mine." The serpent's eyes studied him for a long moment. Then, slowly, the door began to open. "The heir has come," the voice said. The heir has been recognized. Enter Lord Slytherin's descendant." Enter and claim your legacy. Asterisk. Harry stepped through the door. The room beyond was unlike anything Harry had ever seen. It was vast, a massive circular chamber with a high, domed ceiling. The walls were lined with bookshelves, thousands of them, each one filled with ancient tomes and scrolls. In the center of the room was a large desk, covered in papers and quills and bottles of ink. And at the far end of the chamber, mounted on a pedestal, was a portrait. Salazar Slytherin. Harry walked toward the portrait slowly, his eyes wide with wonder. The man in the painting was tall and handsome, with dark hair and a proud bearing. His eyes were kind, but there was a shadow in them, the shadow of a man who had seen too much and lost too much. "Welcome, child," Salazar Slytherin said, his voice warm and paternal. "I have been waiting for you for a very long time." Harry stopped in front of the portrait. "Waiting for me?" he repeated. "But you've been dead for centuries. How could you be waiting for me?" Salazar smiled, a sad, knowing smile. Asterisk. "I knew you would come, Harry Potter. I knew that one day, a child with the blood of the founders and the heart of a protector would find this place. I have been watching you, you know. Through the eyes of the basilisk. Asterisk." Harry's eyes widened. "You can see through the basilisk's eyes?" "I bound my magic to the creature before I died," Salazar explained. Asterisk. "It is a part of me, just as it is a part of you now. I have seen your journey, Harry. I have seen your pain and your triumph. And I am proud of you." Asterisk. Harry felt tears prick at his eyes. "You're proud of me?" he asked, his voice trembling. "But I'm just a boy. I haven't done anything yet." "You have done more than you know," Salazar said gently. Asterisk. "You have survived. You have grown. You have become the master of life and death. And you have done it all with compassion and kindness in your heart. That is more than I could have ever hoped for." Asterisk. Harry wiped his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for believing in me." Asterisk. "I have always believed in you, Harry. And I will continue to believe in you. This room, this library, holds all of my knowledge. My spells, my rituals, my secrets. It is yours now. All of it." Asterisk. Harry looked around the room, his heart soaring. All of this knowledge. All of this power. It was his to command. He could learn anything. He could become anything. He could change the world. The library was a treasure trove of ancient magic. Harry spent the next several months exploring its depths, reading everything he could get his hands on. He learned about the founders of Hogwarts, about their triumphs and their failures. He learned about the creation of the Chamber of Secrets, about the Basilisk, about the ancient magic that bound them together. And he learned about the Horcruxes. "You must be careful with this knowledge, Harry," Salazar warned him one afternoon as Harry pored over a particularly dark tome. Asterisk. "The creation of Horcruxes is forbidden for a reason. It tears the soul apart, corrupts the magic, and creates an abomination that cannot be destroyed by normal means." Asterisk. Harry looked up from the book. "Voldemort made Horcruxes," he said. "I know he did. That's why he didn't die when he tried to kill me. That's why he keeps coming back." Salazar nodded grimly. Asterisk. "Yes. Tom Riddle, or Voldemort, as he calls himself, created multiple Horcruxes. He fractured his soul beyond repair. He is a monster in every sense of the word." Asterisk. Harry's jaw tightened. "How do I destroy them?" he asked. "How do I stop him for good?" "You must find them first," Salazar said. Asterisk. "And then you must destroy them with magic that is powerful enough to overcome the dark enchantments that protect them. The Phoenix Flame can do it. The Basilisk Venom can do it. But you must be careful, Harry. Voldemort will do everything in his power to stop you." Asterisk. Harry nodded. "I will find them," he said. "I will destroy them. And I will end Voldemort's reign of terror once and for all." Asterisk. "I believe you will, Harry. I believe you will." Asterisk. The library also contained something else. Weapons. Harry discovered them one afternoon while exploring a hidden alcove behind one of the bookshelves. There were swords and daggers, enchanted and unenchanted. There were staves and wands, each one more powerful than the last. There were artifacts, ancient and mysterious, that pulsed with magic so strong it made Harry's head spin. But the most impressive weapon of all was the sword. It was mounted on the wall, its blade gleaming with an inner light. The hilt was studded with rubies, and the pommel was shaped like a snake's head. It was beautiful and deadly, a weapon fit for a king. "That is the sword of Gryffindor," Salazar said, appearing in the alcove behind Harry. "I kept it safe for centuries, waiting for the day when a worthy heir would claim it." Harry stared at the sword, his heart racing. "But it's Gryffindor's sword," he said. "It belongs to his house. Why would you keep it?" Salazar smiled. Because I respected Godric Gryffindor more than any other wizard I ever knew. He was a fool sometimes, and we disagreed on many things. But he was also a man of honor and courage. He deserved to have his legacy preserved. Harry reached out and touched the sword. The blade hummed beneath his fingers, resonating with his magic. The rubies glowed, and the snake's head pommel seemed to wink at him. "It recognizes me," Harry breathed. "Of course it does," Salazar said. You are the heir of all the founders, Harry. Not just Slytherin, but Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw as well. The sword belongs to you as much as it belongs to anyone, **. Harry pulled the sword from its mount. It was heavy, but not too heavy. It felt right in his hands, like an extension of his arm. He swung it experimentally, and the blade whistled through the air, leaving a trail of silver light. "Thank you," he said to Salazar. "Thank you for everything." You are welcome, Harry. Now go. Train. Master your powers. And when you are ready, claim your destiny, **. Harry's training intensified after that. He practiced with the sword of Gryffindor every day, learning its weight and balance, its strengths and weaknesses. He studied the ancient tomes in the library, memorizing spells and rituals that had been forgotten for centuries. And he grew stronger. Faster. More powerful. "You are becoming a true master," the Basilisk observed one evening as Harry sparred with a magical construct that Salazar had created for training purposes. Your movements are fluid. Your magic is precise. You are ready for anything, **. Harry parried the construct's attack and drove it back with a burst of phoenix flame. "I feel ready," he said, breathing heavily. "I feel like I could take on the world." "The world will come soon enough," Fawkes said gently. But for now, you must continue to learn. There is always more to learn, Harry. Always more to master, **. Harry nodded. He knew Fawkes was right. He was powerful, incredibly powerful, but he was still young. There was so much he didn't know, so much he hadn't experienced. But he was ready to learn. And he would never stop learning. The months passed, and Harry discovered more secrets. He found a hidden chamber filled with enchanted armor, each suit imbued with ancient magic that would protect the wearer from almost any attack. He found a room filled with potions, thousands of bottles, each one labeled with a date and a purpose. He found a vault filled with gold, enough to fund a small kingdom. But the most important discovery was the map. It was hidden in a locked chest beneath Salazar's desk, its surface covered in magical symbols that glowed with an inner light. Harry recognized it immediately. It was a map of Britain, but not the Britain he knew. This was a map of the magical world. Every hidden village, every secret castle, every ancient fortress, they were all marked on the map. And there were symbols beside each location, symbols that Harry didn't understand. "That is the map of the Peveril legacy," Salazar said, his voice filled with awe. I did not create it. It was created by the Peveril brothers themselves. It shows the locations of their hidden treasures, **. Harry's eyes widened. "The Peveril brothers?" he repeated. "But their legends. Their myths." They were very real, Harry. And they were my ancestors, asterisk. Harry stared at the map. Your ancestors? He asked. But that means they're my ancestors too. Yes, Salazar said. Asterisk, you are a descendant of the Peverils, Harry. You have their blood in your veins. And you have their magic in your soul, asterisk. Harry reached out and touched the map. It pulsed beneath his fingers, the symbols glowing brighter. Where do I find the Peveril treasures? He asked. Where do I find their power? The map will guide you, Salazar said. Asterisk, but you must be patient, Harry. The Peverils were not careless. Their treasures are guarded by powerful enchantments. You must wait until you are ready, asterisk. Harry nodded. He would wait. He would be patient. But he would find the Peveril treasures. And he would claim his birthright. But Harry was also learning darker things. There were books in the library that spoke of terrible magic that could kill without a trace, magic that could enslave entire populations, magic that could destroy the world itself. Harry read these books with a heavy heart, understanding that the knowledge they contained was both a gift and a curse. He would never use dark magic. He promised himself that. But he needed to understand it, to know how to fight it, to know how to protect others from its influence. You are wise beyond your years, Harry, Salazar said one evening as Harry closed a particularly dark book. Asterisk, most people would have been corrupted by the knowledge you have gained. But you remain pure. Uncorrupted. Balanced, asterisk. Harry shook his head. I'm not pure, he said. I have darkness in me. I can feel it sometimes, lurking at the edges of my soul. The basilisk's power is dark. It's dangerous. And sometimes I want to use it. But you don't, Salazar said gently. Asterisk, you choose not to. That is what makes you a true master, Harry. Not the absence of darkness, but the choice to resist it, asterisk. Harry looked down at his hands. The phoenix flame flickered in his palm, warm and bright. The basilisk eyes glowed in the depths of his soul, cold and dark. Two powers. Two forces. He would never let one dominate the other. He would always choose balance. And then, one day, Harry was ready. He stood in the center of the library, surrounded by the knowledge and power of Salazar Slytherin. Fawkes perched on his shoulder, his feathers blazing with phoenix fire. The basilisk's presence hummed in the back of his mind, a constant reminder of the bond they shared. It is time, Salazar said, his voice echoing through the chamber. Asterisk, time for you to leave this place. Time for you to take your place in the world, asterisk. Harry nodded. He had known this day would come. Had been preparing for it for years. I'm ready, he said. I'm ready to go to Hogwarts. I'm ready to face the world. Asterisk, you will face many challenges, Harry. But you will overcome them all. You are the master of life and death. You are the one who will bring balance to the magical world, asterisk. Harry smiled. He walked toward the door, ready to leave the library behind. But before he stepped through, he turned back. Thank you, he said to Salazar's portrait. Thank you for everything. I will never forget what you've done for me. Salazar smiled. Asterisk, I know you won't, Harry. Now go. The world is waiting. And so is your destiny, asterisk. Harry stepped through the door and closed it behind him. He was ready. He was powerful. He was the master of life and death. And nothing in the world could stop him. The Chamber of Secrets had given Harry everything he needed. Knowledge. Power. Weapons. Allies. But it had also given him something more important. It had given him a family. And no matter where he went, no matter what he faced, he would never be alone. We will always be with you, the basilisk said, its voice echoing in Harry's mind. Always. Harry nodded. He smiled. And he walked toward his future. End of Chapter 5. Chapter 6. The Trial of Life and Death. The Chamber of Secrets had revealed its greatest secret. Deep beneath the library, hidden behind a wall that only the basilisk could open, lay a chamber that had not been touched in 1,000 years. It was circular, like the library above, but its walls were lined with something far more ancient than books. They were lined with bones. Harry stood at the entrance of the chamber, his breath catching in his throat. The bones were everywhere, human and animal, stacked in precise patterns that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. They glowed with a faint, ethereal light, casting the entire chamber in an eerie blue-green haze. "This is the trial chamber," the basilisk said, its voice reverent. Salazar Slytherin built it to test his heirs. To prove that they were worthy of his legacy. Harry stepped forward, his bare feet silent on the cold stone floor. "What kind of trials?" he asked. "The trials of life and death," the basilisk said. The trials that will force you to master both powers. To understand the balance between creation and destruction. To prove that you are worthy of the title Master of Life and Death. Harry's heart raced with excitement and fear. He had been preparing for this moment for years. Training. Studying. Growing stronger with each passing day. But he knew that the trials would push him to his limits, would demand everything he had and more. "Are you sure I'm ready?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "We would not have brought you here if we did not believe you were ready," Fawkes said gently. But the trials are not just about power, Harry. They are about wisdom, compassion, understanding. You must prove that you are worthy of the balance you carry. Harry took a deep breath. "I'm ready," he said firmly. "I've been ready for a long time." "Then step forward, little master," the basilisk said. "Step forward and claim your destiny." Harry walked into the chamber. The moment his foot touched the center of the floor, the bones began to glow brighter. They shifted and rearranged themselves, forming patterns that Harry didn't recognize. The air grew thick with magic, pressing against him from all sides. And then the voice spoke. "Welcome, heir of Slytherin." It was ancient and powerful, resonating from the walls themselves. Harry looked around, but there was no one there, just the bones and the magic and the weight of 1,000 years of waiting. You have come to prove yourself worthy of the legacy. You have come to claim the power of life and death. Harry stood tall. "I am Harry Potter," he said. "I am ready to prove myself worthy." Then the trial shall begin. The first trial was the trial of life. Harry found himself standing in the middle of a field, a vast, green field under a bright blue sky. The sun was warm on his skin, and the grass was soft beneath his feet. It was beautiful, peaceful. But Harry knew it was an illusion. "You must create life, heir of Slytherin," the voice echoed. You must bring forth something from nothing. You must prove that you understand the power of creation. Harry looked down at his hands. The phoenix flame flickered in his palms, warm and eager. He could feel the power of life flowing through him, the energy of creation that pulsed in every living thing. He knelt down in the grass and pressed his hands to the earth. The phoenix flame surged through him, pouring into the ground like liquid sunlight. He could feel the soil beneath his fingers, the tiny seeds that lay dormant in the darkness. He could feel their potential, their hunger for light and warmth. He gave it to them. The seeds sprouted. Green shoots burst from the earth, growing with impossible speed. Flowers bloomed, brilliant and colorful, their petals unfurling in the warm sunlight. Trees rose from the ground, their branches stretching toward the sky. And at the center of it all, Harry created something more. He created a bird. It was small, no bigger than his hand, with wings that shimmered like gold and eyes that sparkled with intelligence. It flew from his palms, circling above his head, singing a song that was pure and beautiful and full of joy. "You have created life," the voice said. You have proven that you understand the power of creation. But the trial is not over. The field dissolved around him. Harry found himself back in the chamber of bones, his heart pounding. The bird was gone, but the memory of it, the joy of bringing it to life, remained. Asterisk. The trial of life is complete. Now comes the trial of death. Asterisk. The trial of death was harder. Harry stood in a wasteland, dark and barren, the sky black with clouds. The ground was cracked and dry, and the air was thick with ash. There was nothing living here, no plants, no animals, no water. Only death. You must destroy, heir of Slytherin, the voice said. Asterisk. You must extinguish a life. You must prove that you understand the power of endings. Asterisk. Harry's heart clenched. He didn't want to destroy. He had spent his whole life protecting, healing, creating. The idea of ending a life, even a magical construct, felt wrong. Felt like a betrayal of everything he believed in. You must do this, the voice insisted. Asterisk. You cannot claim the power of life and death without understanding both sides. You cannot be the master of balance if you refuse to embrace the darkness. Asterisk. Harry's hands trembled. He looked around the wasteland and saw a creature approaching, a small, trembling thing that looked like a rabbit. Its eyes were wide with fear, its fur matted and dirty. It was the only living thing in this dead land. And Harry was supposed to kill it. Do it, the voice commanded. Asterisk. End its life. Prove that you are worthy. Asterisk. Harry knelt down and reached for the rabbit. It nuzzled against his hand, trusting him. Comforting him. It had no idea what he was about to do. Harry closed his eyes. The basilisk eyes flared to life, and he saw the rabbit's life force, a tiny, flickering flame that pulsed with energy. He could see the threads of fate that bound it to the world. He could see the moment of its death. And he knew, with absolute certainty, that he could not be the one to end it. I can't, he whispered. I can't do it. You must, the voice thundered. You must prove that you understand death. Harry shook his head, tears streaming down his cheeks. I understand death, he said. I understand it better than most. I've seen it. I've felt it. I've lost people I loved. But I will not become a murderer. I will not take a life that doesn't need to be taken. The voice was silent. Then, slowly, the wasteland dissolved. The rabbit vanished. The black sky faded away. Harry stood in the chamber of bones, his body trembling with emotion. Asterisk. You have passed the trial of death. Asterisk. The voice said softly. Asterisk. You have proven that you understand death, not as a weapon, but as a sacred part of the cycle of life. You have shown mercy, compassion, wisdom. You are worthy. Asterisk. Harry collapsed to his knees, sobbing with relief. But the trials were not over. The trial of life and the trial of death are complete, the voice said. Asterisk. Now comes the final trial. The trial of balance. Asterisk. The chamber of bones dissolved around him. Harry found himself in a place that was both familiar and strange, a vast, empty space that seemed to stretch into infinity. There was no ground beneath his feet, no sky above his head. Just endless, formless void. And in the center of the void stood two figures. One was bathed in golden light, warm and radiant. It was the embodiment of life itself, a beautiful, shining being that pulsed with energy and joy. The other was shrouded in shadow, cold and dark. It was the embodiment of death, a silent, patient presence that radiated peace and finality. You must choose, the voice said. Asterisk. You must choose which power to embrace. Which path to follow. Asterisk. Harry looked at the two figures. Life was beautiful. It was everything he had ever wanted. Warmth, joy, happiness. It promised him a future filled with love and light. Death was peaceful. It offered him rest, release from the pain of existence. It promised him an ending that was gentle and kind. Harry knew he couldn't choose just one. He had to choose both. I accept life, he said firmly. And I accept death. I will not choose one over the other. I will embrace them both, in perfect balance. The two figures looked at him. You cannot have both, the voice said. You must choose. Harry shook his head. No. I will not choose. The power of life and death is not about choosing one over the other. It's about understanding that they are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without the other. You cannot truly live if you are afraid to die. You cannot truly die if you are clinging to life. The void was silent. Then, slowly, the two figures began to move toward each other. Life reached out its hand to death. Death reached out its hand to life. And when their fingers touched, they merged into a single being, a being of golden light and shadow, of warmth and coolness, of creation and ending. You have passed the trial of balance, the voice said, filled with awe. Asterisk, you have proven that you understand the true nature of the power you carry. You are the master of life and death, asterisk. The void dissolved. Harry found himself back in the chamber of bones, his body glowing with a strange, ethereal light. The phoenix flame burned in his chest, warm and bright. The basilisk eyes glowed in his mind, cold and deep. And they were in perfect harmony, each one complementing the other, creating a balance that was more powerful than either could achieve alone. You have done it, little master, the basilisk said, its voice filled with pride. You have proven yourself worthy of the legacy. Harry smiled. He felt different. Transformed. The trials had changed him, deepened him, made him more than he had been before. He understood now, truly understood, what it meant to be the master of life and death. It meant protecting life while accepting the necessity of death. It meant choosing mercy over cruelty, compassion over anger, love over hatred. It meant being the balance that the world so desperately needed. The chamber of bones fell silent. Harry stood in the center of the chamber, his body still glowing with the power of the trials. He could feel the magic pulsing through him, ancient and powerful and wise. And he knew that he was ready. Ready for Hogwarts. Ready for the world. Ready for anything. You have done well, Harry, Fawkes said gently. I am so proud of you. Harry looked up at the phoenix, his eyes filled with tears of joy. Thank you, he said. Thank you for believing in me. Both of you. I couldn't have done this without you. You could have done it without us, the basilisk said. Asterisk, you were always destined for greatness, little master. We simply helped you find your way, asterisk. Harry laughed, a bright, joyful sound that echoed through the chamber. Maybe, he said. But I'm glad you were there to help. I'm glad I didn't have to do it alone. You will never be alone, Fawkes said. Asterisk, we will always be with you, Harry. Always, asterisk. Harry nodded. He looked around the chamber of bones, at the ancient magic that pulsed through its walls. He had passed the trials. He had proven himself worthy. And now it was time to move on. Take me back, he said. Take me back to the chamber. I have a lot to prepare for. As you wish, little master. The journey back to the main chamber was silent. Harry was lost in thought, processing everything that had happened. The trials had been difficult, more difficult than he'd expected. But they had also been rewarding. He had learned so much about himself, about his powers, about the balance that he carried. And he had proven that he was worthy of the title Master of Life and Death. You seem different, the basilisk observed as they entered the main chamber. Asterisk, more settled. More at peace, asterisk. Harry nodded. I understand things now, he said. Things I didn't understand before. The trials showed me that life and death aren't opposites. They're partners. They work together to create the world we live in. That is the wisdom of a true master, the basilisk said approvingly. Asterisk, you have learned what many wizards never learn. You have embraced the balance, asterisk. Harry smiled. He walked over to the basilisk's massive head and pressed his cheek against the smooth scales. I'm ready, he said. I'm ready to leave. To go to Hogwarts. To face the world. We know, the basilisk said softly. And we will be with you every step of the way. Harry closed his eyes. He had everything he needed. He was powerful, wise, and loved. He had a family who would never abandon him, powers that would never fail him, and a destiny that would never be denied. He was ready. End of Chapter 6. Chapter 7. Lord Peveril Awakens. The Chamber of Secrets held many secrets, but none were as profound as the one Harry discovered on the night of his 11th birthday. He had been exploring the deeper tunnels again, following a pull that had been growing stronger for weeks. It was the same pull he'd felt as a 4-year-old in the cupboard, ancient and insistent, guiding him towards something that had been waiting for him for centuries. The tunnels grew darker as he descended, the air colder and thicker. The walls changed from smooth stone to rough-hewn rock, as if they had been carved by hands rather than magic. And then he found it. Another door. This one was different from the others he'd encountered. It was smaller, more modest, made of plain oak rather than ornate stone. But the magic that pulsed from it was overwhelming, older than the chamber, older than Hogwarts, older than anything Harry had ever felt. He reached out and touched the door. It opened without a sound. The room beyond was small and circular, its walls lined with tapestries that depicted scenes Harry didn't recognize. In the center of the room was a pedestal, and on that pedestal lay 3 objects. A wand. A stone. A cloak. Harry's breath caught in his throat. He knew what these were. He had read about them in Salazar's library, in books that spoke of ancient legends and forgotten powers. These were the Deathly Hallows, the most powerful magical artifacts in existence. And they were waiting for him. The Peveril Sanctuary, the Basilisk whispered in his mind, its voice filled with awe. Asterisk. I did not know it existed. Salazar never told me. Asterisk. Harry walked forward slowly, his heart pounding. The wand was beautiful, made of elder wood, its surface smooth and polished. It hummed with power, ancient and undeniable. The resurrection stone glowed faintly, its surface etched with strange symbols. And the invisibility cloak shimmered with an inner light, its fabric rippling like liquid silver. They were his. All of them. He reached out to touch the wand, but before his fingers could make contact, a voice echoed through the room. Careful, heir of Peveril. Harry froze. A figure materialized in front of him, a tall man in flowing robes, with long silver hair and piercing blue eyes. He looked ancient and powerful, and yet there was a gentleness in his face that reminded Harry of Fawkes. I am Antioch Peveril, the man said. Asterisk, the eldest of the 3 brothers. I have been waiting for you for a very long time. Asterisk. Harry's eyes widened. Antioch Peveril? He repeated. But you're a legend. You're supposed to be dead. I am dead, Antioch said, a sad smile playing on his lips. Asterisk. But my spirit remains, bound to this sanctuary until the rightful heir claims the Hallows. That heir is you, Harry Potter. Asterisk. Harry shook his head. I don't understand, he said. The Peverils died out centuries ago. I'm just a Potter. I'm nobody special. You are a Peveril, Antioch said firmly. Asterisk. The blood of our line flows in your veins. Your mother, Lily, carried the Peveril legacy. Your father, James, carried the Potter legacy. You are the culmination of both bloodlines, the heir to powers that have not been united in centuries. Asterisk. Harry stared at the 3 objects on the pedestal. But the Hallows, he said. They're dangerous. People have died trying to claim them. Wizards have gone mad trying to possess them. Yes, Antioch agreed. Asterisk. The Hallows are dangerous. They are not meant for ordinary wizards. They are meant for the one who can wield them without being corrupted by their power. They are meant for the master of life and death. Asterisk. Harry looked down at his hands. The phoenix flame flickered in his palm. The basilisk eyes glowed in his soul. He was the master of life and death. He was the one the Hallows were waiting for. What do I need to do? He asked. Claim them, Antioch said simply. Asterisk. Claim the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, and the Invisibility Cloak. Claim them and become the first true master of the Hallows in 1,000 years. Asterisk. Harry reached out and took the wand. The moment his fingers closed around the Elder Wand, the world exploded into light. Harry felt the power surge through him, overwhelming, intoxicating, impossible. The wand was alive in his hand, pulsing with magic that had been accumulated over centuries of use. It recognized him, accepted him, welcomed him as its true master. And then the stone. Harry picked up the resurrection stone, and the world shifted around him. He could see them now, the spirits of the dead, hovering at the edges of his vision. They were everywhere, watching him with curious eyes. And then he saw them. His parents. Lily and James Potter stood before him, young and beautiful, their faces filled with love. They were translucent, ethereal, but their presence was unmistakable. "Harry," Lily whispered. "Our precious Harry." James smiled, his hand reaching out to touch Harry's cheek. "You've grown so much. We're so proud of you." Harry's eyes filled with tears. "Mom," he choked out. "Dad? I don't know what to say. I've wanted to meet you for so long." "We know, Harry," Lily said gently. We've been watching you. We've seen everything you've been through. And we've been so proud of the person you've become, *. Harry sobbed. "I miss you," he said. "I miss you so much." "We miss you too," James said. But we're always with you, Harry. Always. And we'll be waiting for you when it's time, *. Harry wanted to hold them, to hug them, to never let them go. But he knew he couldn't. They were spirits, bound to the stone, and they would fade soon enough. "I love you," he said. "I love you both." "We love you too, Harry," Lily said. Now claim the cloak. Claim the Hallows. And make us proud, *. They faded. Harry wiped his eyes and picked up the invisibility cloak. The moment it touched his skin, he felt it, the power of invisibility, of protection, of ancient magic that had been woven into the fabric itself. The cloak wrapped around him like a second skin, warm and comforting. He was the master of the Hallows. All three. "You have done it, little master," the basilisk whispered. *, you have claimed the Hallows. You are the true heir of the Peverils, *. Harry stood in the center of the room, the Elder Wand in one hand, the resurrection stone in the other, and the invisibility cloak draped over his shoulders. He felt powerful, more powerful than he'd ever felt before. But he also felt something else. Humility. The Hallows were not tools of domination. They were tools of responsibility. They demanded wisdom, restraint, and an understanding of the delicate balance between life and death. He was ready for that responsibility. "You have proven yourself worthy," Antioch said, his voice filled with pride. The Hallows recognize you as their master. They will never betray you, never corrupt you, never fail you. Use them wisely, Harry, *. Harry nodded. "I will," he said. "I promise." "Then your journey is complete," Antioch said. You have everything you need to face the challenges that await you. Go. Claim your destiny. And remember, you are a Peveril. You are the master of life and death. You are the one who will bring balance to the magical world, *. The figure of Antioch Peveril began to fade, his form dissolving into mist. "Thank you," Harry said. "Thank you for everything. *, you are welcome, heir of Peveril. Now go, *. Harry returned to the main chamber in a daze. He was carrying the Hallows with him, the wand tucked into his belt, the stone in his pocket, the cloak draped over his shoulders. They hummed with power, their magic intertwining with his own. Fawkes was waiting for him, his feathers blazing with light. "I felt it," the Phoenix said. The Hallows. You have claimed them, *. Harry nodded. "Yes," he said. "They're mine now. All of them." "That is incredible," Fawkes said. No one has claimed all three Hallows in centuries. Not since the Peveril brothers themselves, *. Harry looked down at the Elder Wand. "I don't feel different," he said. "I thought I would feel different. More powerful. More something." "The Hallows do not change who you are," Fawkes said gently. Asterisk. They simply enhance what is already there. You are still Harry. You are still the boy who chose mercy over domination in the trial of death. The Hallows will not corrupt you because you have already proven yourself worthy. Asterisk. Harry smiled. He was still Harry. Still the boy from the cupboard, the boy who had survived against all odds, the boy who had been blessed by the Phoenix and the Basilisk. But he was also so much more. He was the master of life and death. He was the heir of the Peverils. He was the one who would bring balance to the magical world. The weeks that followed were spent mastering the Hallows. The Elder Wand was incredible, more powerful than any wand Harry had ever wielded. It responded to his magic with perfect precision, amplifying his spells beyond anything he'd ever achieved. He could perform magic now that would have been impossible with any other wand. The Resurrection Stone was more subtle. It allowed him to speak with the dead, to seek their wisdom and guidance. He learned to use it sparingly, knowing that the dead should not be disturbed too often. But when he needed advice, the stone was there. And the invisibility cloak was perfect. Harry had never been comfortable with invisibility. It reminded him too much of the cupboard, of being hidden away and forgotten. But the cloak was different. It was warm and comforting, like a hug from his parents. Together, the Hallows made him unstoppable. You are ready for Hogwarts now, the Basilisk said one evening. Asterisk. You have everything you need. The power, the knowledge, the wisdom. The Hallows will protect you. Asterisk. Harry nodded. He was ready. He had been ready for years. But now, with the Hallows in his possession, he felt truly prepared for whatever the world could throw at him. One more day, he said. One more day, and then I'll go to Hogwarts. Why wait? Fawkes asked. Harry smiled. Because I need to say goodbye, he said. To this place. To this life. To everything that's made me who I am. You are not leaving us, the Basilisk said gently. Asterisk. We will always be with you, little master. Always. Asterisk. Harry nodded. I know, he said. But this is still a goodbye of sorts. It's the end of one chapter, and the beginning of another. And I want to take a moment to appreciate it. That is wise, Fawkes said. Very wise. The next day, Harry said goodbye to the Chamber of Secrets. He walked through every tunnel, visited every room, touched every wall. He said goodbye to the Basilisk, pressing his cheek against its scales one last time. He said goodbye to Fawkes, who promised to visit him at Hogwarts. And he said goodbye to Salazar Slytherin's portrait. You have made me proud, Harry, Salazar said. Asterisk. You have carried my legacy with honor. You have proven that the blood of Slytherin can be a force for good. Asterisk. Harry smiled. Thank you, he said. For everything. For the library, the knowledge, the power. For teaching me who I truly am. You have always known who you are, Harry, Salazar said. I simply helped you find the path. Harry turned away from the portrait. He walked through the chamber, through the tunnels, through the door that led to the surface. The morning sun was bright on his face, warm and welcoming. He was leaving his childhood behind. And he was ready for his future. The Hogwarts Express waited for him at King's Cross Station. Harry walked through the barrier between platforms 9 and 10, his trunk floating behind him, Fawkes perched on his shoulder. The train was massive, its steam engines hissing with power, its windows gleaming in the afternoon light. He found an empty compartment and sat down, his heart pounding with excitement. He was going to Hogwarts. He was going to learn magic. He was going to become the wizard he was always meant to be. Are you nervous? Fawkes asked. Harry shook his head. No, he said. I'm not nervous. I'm ready. I've been ready for years. Good, Fawkes said. Asterisk. Because the world is waiting for you, Harry. And you are going to change it. Asterisk. Harry smiled. He watched out the window as the train pulled out of the station, carrying him toward his destiny. He was Harry Potter. He was the master of life and death. And he was ready. End of Chapter 7. Chapter 8. the hidden kingdom. The forbidden forest had always called to Harry. Even before he understood why, even before he knew about the magic that pulsed through his veins, he had felt the pull of the ancient trees, the whisper of the creatures that lived within their shadows. It was the same pull he'd felt as a 4-year-old in the cupboard, ancient and insistent, guiding him towards something that had been waiting for him for centuries. And now, in the months before his first year at Hogwarts, Harry finally answered that call. He had been living in the Chamber of Secrets for years, but he had never truly explored the forest above. Not properly. Not with the intention of understanding it, of connecting with it, of claiming it as his own. But now he knew the truth. The Forbidden Forest was not just a forest. It was a kingdom. A hidden kingdom of magical creatures, abandoned by the wizarding world, forgotten by time itself. And they were waiting for him. Harry entered the forest at dawn, the invisibility cloak draped over his shoulders, the Elder Wand tucked into his belt, and the resurrection stone heavy in his pocket. Fawkes flew above him, hidden from sight by a glamour. The trees loomed overhead, their branches twisted together to form a canopy that blocked out most of the sunlight. The ground was soft with moss and fallen leaves, and the air was thick with the smell of earth and growing things. Harry walked deeper into the forest, his basilisk eyes active. He could see the life force of everything around him, the trees, the plants, the creatures that scurried through the undergrowth. He could see their magic too, woven into the very fabric of the forest. And he could see the creatures. There is a clearing ahead, Fawkes said. Asterisk, many creatures are gathered there. They sense your presence, asterisk. Harry walked toward the clearing, his heart pounding with anticipation. The first creature he saw was a thestral. It was massive, its skeletal body covered in dark, leathery skin. Its wings were folded against its back, and its eyes were white and milky, staring at Harry with an intelligence that was both ancient and unsettling. But Harry wasn't afraid. He had seen death. He had touched it, understood it, accepted it. The thestrals were creatures of death, but they were not evil. They were simply different. You can see us, the thestral said, its voice echoing in Harry's mind. You are not afraid of us. Harry shook his head. No, he said. I'm not afraid. You are beautiful. You are a part of the balance that I carry. The thestral lowered its head, and Harry reached out to touch it. Its skin was warm beneath his fingers, and it hummed with a faint vibration, as if it were filled with magic. You are the master of life and death, the thestral said. We have been waiting for you. Harry smiled. He had found his first ally. The clearing was filled with creatures. Acromantulas, massive and hairy, their 8 legs clicking against the ground. Centaurs, proud and noble, their hooves pawing at the earth. Merfolk, gathered around a small pond, their scales glistening in the dim light. And snakes, dozens of them, coiled in the grass, their eyes fixed on Harry with reverence. They were all waiting for him. You have come, an ancient acromantula said, its voice raspy with age. Asterisk, the guardian of nature's balance. The one who will unite us all, asterisk. Harry looked around at the gathered creatures. I am Harry Potter, he said. I am the master of life and death. I am the heir of the Peverils. And I am here to help you. Help us? A centaur asked, his voice filled with skepticism. Asterisk, you are a wizard. Wizards have abandoned us. Wizards have forgotten us. Why should we trust you? Asterisk. Harry met the centaur's eyes. Because I am not like other wizards, he said. I was abandoned too. I was forgotten. I was treated like less than nothing. And I know what it's like to be alone. The centaur was silent. You speak the truth, he said finally. Asterisk, I can see it in your eyes. You are not like the others, asterisk. Harry nodded. I want to help you, he said. All of you. I want to give you a place where you belong. A place where you are safe and loved. I want to build a kingdom. A kingdom? The thestral asked. Where would this kingdom be? Harry spread his arms wide. Here, he said. In this forest. In the chamber beneath. In all the hidden places that the wizarding world has forgotten. I will create a sanctuary for all magical creatures, a place where we can live in peace, away from the hatred and fear of humans. The creatures exchanged glances. You cannot be serious, Mère Fawkes said, her voice filled with disbelief. Asterisk, the wizarding world will never allow it. They will attack us. They will destroy us, asterisk. Harry shook his head. No, he said. I will protect you. With the phoenix flame, the basilisk venom, the hallows, and all the magic that flows through my veins. No one will harm you while I am alive. The creatures were silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, they began to move. The thestral bowed its head. The acromantulas clicked their legs in salute. The centaurs raised their bows in a gesture of respect. The merfolk sang a haunting melody that echoed through the clearing. And the snakes hissed in approval, their voices rising in a chorus of welcome. We will follow you, Master Harry, the ancient acromantula said. Asterisk, we will be your allies, your subjects, your friends. We will help you build this kingdom, asterisk. Harry felt tears prick at his eyes. He had found his purpose. He had found his people. He had found his kingdom. The days that followed were a blur of discovery and alliance. Harry moved through the forest, meeting creature after creature, winning their loyalty with his compassion and his power. The acromantulas taught him about the secrets of the forest, the hidden paths and ancient magics that had been forgotten by all but them. The centaurs taught him about the stars, the prophecies, the connections between magic and fate. The merfolk taught him about the underwater realms, the creatures that lived in the depths, the ancient songs that carried the wisdom of ages. And the snakes taught him about unity. You are our master, one of them said, a massive python with scales of deep green. Asterisk, but you are also our brother. We will always stand with you, no matter what, asterisk. Harry smiled. He was building something beautiful, something that would last for centuries. A kingdom of creatures who had been forgotten by the world, who had been feared and hated and abandoned. But Harry didn't hate them. He loved them. And they loved him back. You have done something remarkable, little master, the basilisk said one evening as Harry returned to the chamber. Asterisk, you have united the creatures of the forest. You have given them hope, asterisk. Harry lay in the basilisk's coils, his body exhausted but his heart full. I didn't do anything special, he said. I just listened to them. Treated them like equals. Showed them that I care. That is more than any wizard has done in centuries, the basilisk said gently. Asterisk, you are the guardian of nature's balance. And you are the hope of the magical world, asterisk. Harry closed his eyes. He had found his purpose. He had found his people. He had found his kingdom. And he would protect them with everything he had. The kingdom grew. Creatures came from all over Britain, from the highlands of Scotland to the moors of Cornwall, from the forests of Wales to the hills of Ireland. They came to the forbidden forest, drawn by whispers of a child who could unite them all. And Harry welcomed every single one. Acromantulas built their nests in the deeper parts of the forest, their webs glistening with morning dew. Thestrals roamed the clearings, their skeletal forms beautiful in the moonlight. Centaurs galloped through the trees, their hooves pounding against the earth. Merfolk swam in the underground rivers, their songs echoing through the tunnels. And snakes were everywhere, coiled in the branches, slithering through the grass, watching over Harry with their ancient, knowing eyes. You have created something beautiful, Fawkes said one afternoon as Harry played with a group of young acromantulas. Asterisk, a sanctuary? A home. A kingdom of the forgotten, asterisk. Harry looked up, his face flushed with exertion. It's not a kingdom, he said. It's a family. A kingdom is a family, Fawkes said gently. Asterisk, a family that protects each other. A family that loves each other. And that is exactly what you have built, asterisk. Harry smiled. He had never had a family before. Not a real one. The Dursleys had never loved him, never wanted him, never seen him as anything more than a burden. But the creatures of the forest, they loved him. They truly loved him. And he loved them back. But Harry's kingdom was not without its enemies. The Death Eaters had not forgotten him. They had been searching for years, hunting for the child who had humiliated them in the forest, the child who carried the power of the Phoenix and the Basilisk. And now they had found him. Danger, the Basilisk hissed in his mind. Asterisk Death Eaters. Many of them. They are approaching the forest. Asterisk. Harry stood up, his body tensing with readiness. Fawkes flew to his side, his feathers blazing with light. The creatures of the forest gathered around him, their eyes filled with determination. Let them come, Harry said calmly. Let them see what they're up against. The Death Eaters emerged from the trees, a dozen of them, cloaked and masked, their wands raised. They stopped when they saw Harry, their eyes widening with shock. The child, one of them breathed. The chosen one. Harry stepped forward, the elder wand in his hand. You are not welcome here, he said. Leave this forest. Leave my people alone. Or face the consequences. The Death Eaters laughed, a harsh, cruel sound. You are just a child, one of them sneered. What can you possibly do to us? Harry smiled. And then he moved. The phoenix flame blazed to life in his palm, bright and fierce and full of righteous fury. He didn't need to cast a spell. The fire responded to his will, shooting forward in a wave of golden light that engulfed the Death Eaters. They screamed. They tried to fight back, tried to cast curses, tried to escape. But the phoenix flame was too powerful. It burned through their shields, their magic, their very souls. And when it was over, they were gone. Not dead, Harry had shown mercy. But they were gone, fleeing into the forest, never to return. You have protected us, the Thestral said, its voice filled with awe. You have proven yourself a true guardian. Harry extinguished the flame. I will always protect you, he said. Always. The kingdom flourished. News of Harry's victory spread through the magical world, reaching the ears of wizards and creatures alike. Some feared him. Some hated him. But others, the forgotten, the abandoned, the oppressed, they flocked to him. They came to the forest, drawn by whispers of a child who could offer them safety, hope, and a place to belong. And Harry welcomed them all. You are building an army, Fawkes observed one evening as Harry met with a delegation of house elves. An army of creatures who will follow you anywhere. Harry shook his head. It's not an army, he said. It's a community. A family. A kingdom of the forgotten. Whatever you call it, Fawkes said gently. Asterisk, it is powerful. And it will help you when the time comes. Asterisk. Harry nodded. He knew the time would come. He knew that Voldemort would return, that the war would reach his kingdom, that he would have to fight to protect everything he had built. But he wasn't afraid. He was ready. And then, one day, it was time. You have done everything you can here, little master, the Basilisk said. Asterisk, the creatures of the forest are safe. They are united. They are yours. But there is more waiting for you at Hogwarts. Asterisk. Harry stood in the center of the chamber, his kingdom gathered around him. He had built something beautiful. Something that would last for centuries. But his journey was not over. I'll be back, he said. I'll always come back. This is my home. You are my family. And nothing will ever change that. We know, the ancient Acromantula said. Asterisk, we will be waiting for you, Master Harry. Always, asterisk. Harry smiled. He turned away from his kingdom and walked toward the door that would take him to Hogwarts. He was ready. He had always been ready. And now he would claim his destiny. End of Chapter 8. Chapter 9, Hogwarts receives a surprise. The Great Hall of Hogwarts had seen many things in its 1,000-year history. It had witnessed the founding of the school, the departure of Salazar Slytherin, the countless feasts and celebrations that marked the passage of seasons. It had seen wars and peace, joy and sorrow, the triumph of light and the shadow of darkness. But it had never seen anything quite like the boy who walked through its doors on the first day of September. Harry Potter entered the great hall with the calm confidence of a king entering his throne room. His robes were simple, deep green, embroidered with golden thread that shimmered like phoenix fire. His hair was messy, his glasses were round, and his eyes were the brightest green anyone had ever seen. But it was the presence that surrounded him that made everyone stop and stare. It was ancient, powerful, undeniable. "Who is that?" whispered a second-year Ravenclaw, her eyes wide. "I don't know," her friend replied. But he feels old. Older than he looks. Harry walked down the aisle between the tables, his gaze steady and calm. He could feel the eyes of every student, every teacher, every portrait on the wall. They were all watching him, trying to understand what he was. He smiled. "Attention, please," Professor McGonagall's voice echoed through the hall. "The sorting ceremony will now begin." Harry took his place among the first years, his composure unshaken. The other children were nervous, fidgeting, whispering to each other. But Harry stood still, his hands clasped behind his back, his eyes fixed on the sorting hat. "When I call your name, you will come forward and place the hat on your head," McGonagall continued. "Potter, Harry." A murmur rippled through the hall. "Potter," someone whispered. "The Potter?" Harry walked forward, his footsteps silent on the stone floor. He could feel the magic of the hall humming around him, ancient and welcoming. It recognized him. It accepted him. He sat down on the stool and placed the sorting hat on his head. "Interesting, the hat," whispered in his mind. "Very interesting." Harry smiled. "I know what you're thinking," he said. "But I'm not going to make it easy for you." "Oh, I can see that," the hat replied. The phoenix flame, the basilisk eyes, the hallows. "You are the most powerful student to walk these halls in 1,000 years, *. Harry waited. "But where to put you?" the hat mused. Gryffindor? "No. You have courage, but you are far more than that. Ravenclaw? You have wisdom, but wisdom is not your primary trait. Hufflepuff? You have loyalty, yes, but your loyalty is to something greater than a single house, *. And Slytherin?" Harry asked. "Ah, Slytherin," the hat said. You have ambition. You have cunning. You have the blood of the founder himself. But you are not like the other Slytherins, Harry. You seek power not for yourself, but for others. You seek balance, not dominance, *. Harry nodded. "So where will you put me?" The hat was silent for a moment. "I think," it said finally, "that you belong in all 4 houses. You are a true heir of the founders, Harry. You carry the legacy of Slytherin, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw in your blood. But I can only choose one, *. Then choose wisely." "I will," the hat said. Better be Slytherin, *. The hall fell silent. Harry removed the hat and walked to the Slytherin table, his expression calm. He could feel the eyes of the other students on him, the shock, the confusion, the whispers of surprise. But he didn't care. He took his seat at the table, his presence radiating power. The feast began. Harry ate quietly, his movements precise and controlled. The other Slytherins kept glancing at him, their curiosity clear in their eyes. But they didn't approach him. They sensed something about him, something that made them wary. "Welcome to Hogwarts, Mr. Potter," a voice said beside him. Harry turned to see a tall, dark-haired boy with sharp features and an air of superiority. He recognized him, Draco Malfoy, the son of Lucius Malfoy. "Thank you," Harry said politely. "I'm surprised you chose Slytherin," Draco said. Most Potters are Gryffindors. Blood traitors, the lot of them, *. Harry raised an eyebrow. "I am not like most Potters," he said. "And I am not a blood traitor. I am simply different." Draco studied him for a moment. "Yes," he said finally. I can see that. You are different. There's something about you, something ancient, *. Harry smiled. Perhaps, he said. But that's a conversation for another time. Draco nodded slowly. Very well. But I'll be watching you, Potter. Watching to see what you really are, The night was quiet. Harry lay in his dormitory, staring up at the ceiling of the Slytherin common room. The room was beautiful, all dark wood and green tapestries, with a view of the Black Lake through the windows. But Harry wasn't looking at the room. He was looking at the bond. He could feel it, the connection to Fawkes, to the Basilisk, to the creatures of the forest. They were all there, humming in the back of his mind like a chorus of voices. How are you settling in, little master? The Basilisk asked. Well, Harry replied. The other students are curious. They know something is different about me. Let them be curious, the Basilisk said. They will learn soon enough what you truly are. And what is that? Harry asked. The master of life and death, the Basilisk said. The one who will bring balance to the magical world. Harry smiled. Yes, he said. That is exactly what I am. The next morning, Harry woke early. He dressed quickly and made his way to the Great Hall, his mind already planning the day ahead. He had classes to attend, spells to learn, connections to make. But first, he needed to explore. He walked through the corridors of Hogwarts, his basilisk eyes active. He could see the magic that pulsed through the walls, the ancient enchantments that protected the castle. He could see the secrets hidden in every corner, the doors that led to forgotten places. And he could feel the chamber of secrets beneath his feet. It was there, waiting for him. Waiting for him to claim it. Not yet, he whispered to himself. Not yet. But soon, The first class of the day was Transfiguration. Professor McGonagall stood at the front of the classroom, her expression stern and commanding. She was one of the most respected witches in the magical world, and she took her job very seriously. Today, she said, we will be learning the basics of transfiguration. The art of changing one object into another. It requires focus, precision, and control, Harry listened attentively, his mind absorbing every word. McGonagall demonstrated the spell, turning a desk into a pig and back again. The class gasped in amazement. Now it's your turn, McGonagall said. Try turning your matchstick into a needle. Focus your magic, and visualize the transformation, Harry picked up his matchstick. He focused his magic, feeling the phoenix flame pulse in his chest. He visualized the needle, thin and silver, gleaming in the light. And then he spoke the words. The matchstick transformed instantly into a beautiful silver needle. McGonagall walked over to his desk, her eyes widening with surprise. That's remarkable, Mr. Potter, she said. Most students take weeks to master this spell. You performed it perfectly on your first try, Harry smiled. I've had some practice, he said. McGonagall studied him for a moment, her eyes sharp. Yes, she said slowly. I imagine you have. The days passed, and Harry's reputation grew. He excelled in every class: transfiguration, charms, potions, herbology, defense against the dark arts. The teachers were impressed, the students were curious, and the whispers grew louder with each passing day. Did you hear about Potter? Someone whispered in the corridors. He turned a desk into a dragon in transfiguration. And he brewed a perfect draught of living death and potions. And he defeated a boggart without even flinching. Harry heard the whispers, but he didn't let them affect him. He was used to being different, used to being stared at. But there was something else that bothered him. The other students were afraid of him. They kept their distance, avoided eye contact, whispered behind his back. They sensed the power that pulsed through him, the ancient magic that lived in his blood. And it frightened them. Harry didn't want to be feared. He wanted to be understood. Give them time, Fawkes said gently. They will learn that you are not a monster. They will learn that you are a protector, Harry nodded. He would be patient. He would prove himself. And eventually, they would see the truth. The first major test came during defense against the dark arts. Professor Quirrell was teaching that day, a nervous, stuttering man who seemed terrified of his own shadow. He was supposed to be teaching the class about dark creatures, but he was so nervous that he could barely form a sentence. Today, Quirrell stammered, we will be learning about trolls. Harry watched Quirrell carefully. Something was wrong. He could feel it, a darkness lurking beneath the professor's nervous exterior. A shadow that should not be there. Harry's basilisk eyes flared to life. And he saw the truth. Voldemort. The Dark Lord was possessing Quirrell, living in the back of his head, using him as a puppet. He was there, at Hogwarts, hiding in plain sight. Harry's heart raced with anger and fear. But he didn't show it. He simply sat in his seat, his expression calm, his mind working furiously. He would need to be careful. He would need to plan. But he would not let Voldemort win. You see me, don't you, Potter? Voldemort's voice hissed in his mind. You see me for what I truly am. Harry didn't respond. Life in his palm, shooting forward in a wave of golden light. The troll screamed as the fire engulfed it, burning away its rage, its violence, its very will to fight. And then it was gone. Not dead, Harry had shown mercy. We will be with you every step of the way. Harry smiled. He was not alone. He had never been alone. The night of the confrontation was cold and clear. Harry made his way to the third-floor corridor, the invisibility cloak draped over his shoulders, the elder wand hidden in his robes. Fawkes flew above him, his feathers hidden by a glamour. The corridor was dark and forbidding, its walls lined with ancient tapestries that seemed to watch him as he passed. The air was thick with magic, thick with the presence of something dark and dangerous. Harry's basilisk eyes flared to life. He could see the enchantments now, the traps that Dumbledore had set to protect the stone. They were clever, intricate, designed to test the mind and spirit of anyone who tried to pass. But Harry was no ordinary wizard. He walked through the traps with ease, his magic responding to each challenge. The devil's snare parted before him, the enchanted keys flew to his hand, the chessboard moved aside to let him pass. And then he reached the final chamber. Quirrell was standing in front of the mirror of Ariste, his face twisted with desperation. He was trying to get the stone, trying to pull it from the mirror's reflection, but it wouldn't come. It's useless, Quirrell muttered. Asterisk, I can't get it. The mirror won't give it to me, asterisk. Harry stepped out of the shadows. Hello, Professor, he said calmly. Quirrell spun around, his eyes widening with shock. And then his expression shifted, his face contorting with rage. Potter, he hissed. You. Harry smiled. I know who you are, he said. I know what you're trying to do. And I'm here to stop you. Quirrell laughed, a harsh, cruel sound. You, he spat. Asterisk, you're just a child. A weak, pathetic child. What can you possibly do to me, asterisk? Harry raised his hand. The phoenix flame blazed to life in his palm, bright and fierce and full of righteous fury. This, he said. Quirrell stumbled backward, his face pale with terror. No, he whispered. No, it can't be. And then Voldemort's voice echoed through the chamber. Asterisk, kill him, Quirrell. Kill him now, asterisk. Quirrell raised his wand, a curse on his lips. But Harry was faster. The phoenix flame shot forward, a wave of golden light that engulfed Quirrell's body. The man screamed, a terrible, anguished sound that echoed through the chamber. And then Harry saw it. Voldemort's soul fragment was there, clinging to Quirrell's spirit like a parasite. It was dark and twisted, pulsing with malevolent energy. Harry reached out with his power, not the phoenix flame, but something deeper. Something that came from the very core of his being. The basilisk eyes. He could see the soul fragment now, see its weakness, its corruption. He could see the threads that connected it to Quirrell, could see how it was slowly destroying the man from the inside out. And he could see how to destroy it. No, Voldemort screamed. Asterisk, you can't? You can't destroy me, asterisk. Harry's eyes blazed with power. I can, he said calmly. And I will. The phoenix flame surged forward, burning away the darkness, the corruption, the very essence of Voldemort's soul fragment. Quirrell screamed again, his body convulsing as the dark magic was torn away from him. And then it was over. Voldemort's soul fragment was gone, purified by the phoenix flame, destroyed by the power of life itself. Quirrell collapsed to the ground, his body broken but alive. Harry extinguished the flame and walked toward the mirror of Ariste. The stone was still there, glowing faintly in the reflection. You can take it, a voice whispered in his mind. It's yours. Harry shook his head. No, he said. It's not mine to take. It belongs to the world. To the people who need it. He turned away from the mirror and walked toward the door. But before he left, he glanced back at the stone one last time. I'll protect you, he promised. Asterisk, I'll keep you safe from those who would misuse you, asterisk. And then he was gone. The aftermath was chaotic. Dumbledore arrived moments later, his face pale with shock. He looked at Quirrell's unconscious body, at the mirror of Ariste, at Harry standing in the doorway. What happened? He asked. Harry met his eyes. Voldemort possessed Quirrell, he said calmly. He was trying to get the stone. I stopped him. Dumbledore's eyes widened. Asterisk, stopped him? How, asterisk? Harry smiled. With fire, he said. And he walked away. The news spread quickly through the school. Harry Potter had defeated the Dark Lord again. He had saved the Philosopher's Stone, protected the school, and proven himself to be a hero beyond compare. The students celebrated. The teachers praised him. The wizarding world hailed him as a champion. But Harry didn't care about the praise. He cared about the victory. Voldemort was gone, not destroyed, not completely. But the soul fragment that had been clinging to Quirrell was gone. Purified. Destroyed by the phoenix flame. You have weakened him, the basilisk said. Asterisk, he will need time to recover. Time to gather his strength, asterisk. Harry nodded. Then I'll use that time, he said. I'll grow stronger. I'll prepare for the next battle. And I'll be ready when he returns. You have done well, little master, the basilisk said. Better than I could have ever hoped. Harry smiled. He was powerful. He was loved. He was the master of life and death. And nothing in the world could stop him. The rest of the year passed in a blur. Harry continued to excel in his classes, continued to make friends, continued to grow stronger. He visited the Chamber of Secrets regularly, communing with the basilisk, learning from the ancient magic that pulsed through its walls. And he prepared for the darkness that was coming, for the war that would inevitably follow. You have done everything you can, little master, Fawkes said one evening. Asterisk, the rest is up to fate, asterisk. Harry shook his head. Fate doesn't control me, he said. I control my own destiny. Yes, Fawkes said gently. Yes, you do. Harry smiled. He was ready. He had always been ready. The final day of term arrived. Harry packed his trunk, said goodbye to his friends, and made his way to the Hogwarts Express. The journey back to the chamber was quiet, filled with thoughts of the year that had passed. He had accomplished so much. He had made allies, defeated enemies, grown stronger than he'd ever imagined. But the war was far from over. You have done well, Harry, Fawkes said as they flew through the night sky. Better than anyone could have expected. Harry nodded. I know, he said. But there's still so much more to do. The Horcruxes. The war. The final battle. You will face it all, Fawkes said. Asterisk, and you will triumph. Because you are the master of life and death, asterisk. Harry smiled. He looked down at the forest below, at the kingdom that awaited him, at the creatures who loved him. He was home. He was powerful. He was ready. End of chapter 10. Thank you.